Hello, and welcome to the REL 1 and 2A div review, week 11. And I'm here with not Shadorra. I'm here with TS Elfiot. Or Tidora.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
It doesn't sound as good as T-Steak.
No.
Like
no,
Tidora or Tidora? Tora? I don't know, like there isn't a good one.
TDora the Explorer.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. But anyway, Shadorra's a dumb and forgot what day of the week it was. Like, literally, just forgot it was Thursday. So, isn't here. And with the rate that you guys play games, I figured it was probably better to get it done now rather than on the date that, or that he'd actually be free again, which would have been like Sunday night. All of you would have had your games finished by then. Would have kind of been pointless. Because you guys are dumb and play your games super quickly. 3 games have already been played in 2A, and it's Thursday. Like,
That
okay,
is so many.
whatever. I was gonna say something else. Now I don't remember what it was. There was something else about this that I was trying to remember, and okay, whatever. Who knows? Oh, hello, cat. Today is going to be div review things, and by div review I mean match review. And you know, you'd think that'd be a bit weird. Tself streams all of the div 1 games anyway. Thankfully, he's missed a few, and thankfully, he's missed one of the ones that I wanted to see. So it's perfect. Works out all good.
Yep. Covering up for my Borderlands extravaganza on Tuesday.
Yeah, I've been playing too many things like auto chess and PoE. The REBBL has gotten a big like auto chess thing going on now. A lot of us are playing together, and that caused my video editing to be very, very late for the last week. Oops. Blame auto chess. Zeta said I could, and he's one of the people that, you know, we recap for, so very clearly I'm allowed to. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So the first one that we're gonna watch, I guess I can pull up that and go into game now, is McMacky and TravelScrabble. So Scooby and the gang, and whatever McMacky's team is called. Why can't I remember it right now?
Can we do it? Yes, we can.
There we go. That's it. And the reason why we wanted to watch this is because they were 1 and 2 in the div as of last week. So this is a big match. Winner kind of takes the top spot here, as it were. And
yeah, and the top spot carries quite a big prize with it too.
Yeah, top in div 1 for playoff brackets is, you know, a bye, which is a pretty big deal. It's not terribly. Like, there's a lot of playoff spots, I guess, in Div 1. I was going to say it's not terribly hard, but that's not true. It's Div 1. There's a lot of really good coaches in there. But there's a lot of playoff spots available, but the number 1 spot is quite a bonus over the other ones. So it is worth something, certainly. I predicted that the Necro would win this, and Shadorra predicted the Khemri. So there you go. It's also a divisive one, which certainly is another incentive for watching this one. It is not live. We're doing a replay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Shall I
hit play?
Shall I count us down?
Go for it.
3, 2, 1, play. There's a wizard for the Khemri, along with a bribe, so we may see some fouling.
They've been super low team value this whole season.
Yeah, comparatively, I guess, with all the stats on TravelScrabble's team, it's hard to be higher TV than him. You got the lopsided LOS favorite of some elf teams, but you're not an elf, you're a Necro. I guess it's okay when you're facing this much strength. They're going to set up for like 3 dies, and if you're lucky, you get that perfect D and move them all away and save yourself a little bit of effort. And Khemri aren't too fast, so it's not like they can exploit the more open right side anyway.
Yeah, it kind of forces them to put all their Tomb Guardians in one spot, which they don't like to do normally.
Although McMacky is not really falling for it too hard by putting there's a block. Every spot on the LOS is hittable. All of them by a Tomb Guardian. Almost. So even the perfect D doesn't save too much pain here. Man, that's going to bother me. There was still something. There was something else I wanted to say in the intro, and I don't remember what it was, and it's going to drive me nuts. Probably not important. Oh, see? Perfect E. Nailed it. Rewarded.
Yeah. A little under the weather, Magnet.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
look myself.
Shadorra literally forgot that it was Thursday. Oh, no, what I was going to say is that it's also fair because Tself replaced me 1 week, and now Tself is replacing Shadorra 1 week, so that it makes everything, like, in balance, Thanos snap. Right? So that's good. That's what I was thinking of, like, this whole time, and I couldn't remember what.
Yeah, I get to delete Shadorra's prediction points this week.
Do it. He's ahead by, like, 3 or 4 now. I need some help. So there, with the perfect D, we're saving a number of Tomb Guardian hits here. We're still going to be able to get a couple, at least 2, onto the zombies. He put the Flesh Golem on the line with Guard to try to make the 3 dies a little bit more difficult. But the Tomb Guardians have Guard of their own, so we can still pull off 3 dies at least once. We'll be able to get a 2 on the Dr. Johnson and then a 3 on Yaba, I think.
Yeah, it should be relatively easy to get.
Or the other way around. One of them is a 2 die and the other one is a 3 die. Like, take your pick.
Yeah.
No, he went with 2s for both of them. Had to burn a reroll there on the both down. Maybe, am I crazy? I'm pretty sure you could have gotten a 2. You could have 2 died the second zombie and then 3 died the first zombie there. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing that correctly. The white so far forward to bring the Blitzraw back to try and be a little bit of a safety. But, you know, Khemri not worried about picking up the ball, apparently. Just easily grab that on a 5. And then another both down results in the turnover. So no foul or blitz, actually. It's a little bit unfortunate. Perfect D doing exactly what TravelScrabble wants there.
Yeah, a little unfortunate he couldn't work a blitz in at some point.
Yeah, he would have liked to use Wrecking Ball Ron to grab a punch on the minor 49er, probably. But now we've got Flesh Golems tying up at least 2 Tomb Guardians. They're going to get punched, but with Stand Firm, they're probably going to be able to stay on top of them, which is... Certainly, you would trade 2 Flesh Golems for the 2 Tomb Guardians.
Coming in with a big hit.
Yeah, here we go. That's the start. That's a Piling on Mighty Blow piece KO'd, which is a really good start at preventing damage possible from this Khemri team. There is no other Piling on piece, in fact. There's a lot of Mighty Blow, but there's no other player quite as deadly as Wrecking Ball Ron on the Khemri side. Yeah, not exactly how they want. The TravelScrabble is going to be able to use the Necro speed here to try and, like, elf, as it were, a little bit. Oh, that's a failed
Tries
dodge.
to go through with tackle.
KOs himself. Well,
Doesn't re-roll it.
that's a problem. Well, it was his last move, but the KO, like, so the turnover isn't bad, but the KO is bad. I was gonna say he's using like the Necro speed compared to the Khemri to do the elf thing, where he like cuts off the team from its own ball carrier. But he left the middle quite wide open, so the Khemri are gonna be able to back off here and then get themselves protected.
Yeah, doesn't have enough speed. Like, he has a few players, but
If he had that
can't
ghoul,
really get all of them through.
if that ghoul was through, he would have been able to put him like right where that throw rye is, and that is like pretty much good enough to stop the too much forward progression and give him one more turn to start putting pressure on the ball while the Tomb Guardians are far away. But because of that KO, we don't have it. I'm surprised he didn't reroll there, because this is pretty rough without that ghoul actually making it through.
Yeah, I mean, even if the ghoul had made it through, I think it just forces the blitz from the other Blitzraw Bone Man.
Easy peasy dodge. Casual 4+ out. There wasn't much else to do, so it's really good if it works, and if it fails, it's not really the end of the world. So,
Oh, it's better if it fails than just standing there, because
oh, for sure, yeah.
could have been a surf.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you try it, you just, because it's good if it works, but you just have to wait for the end. Strength Wolf, not having to worry too much about the cage assists. Ooh, That's the other Blitz Raw out.
Yeah, really aiming for these Blitz Raws. He really knows how to take out the key pieces.
Yeah, well, that's like people watching who need to learn how to, or are trying to learn how to play Necro, should watch a little bit of this. Maybe not mimic it perfectly because he has a billion stats, but using those wolves to hunt down important pieces is certainly, like, you know, you don't want to get into a bash fight as Necro. You'll probably lose, but using the wolves to hunt down, using their speed and claw to hunt down those key pieces is really, really good.
It's also taking quite good advantage of the fact that not all of the Tomb Guardians have block.
Yeah, throwing a bunch of zombies on them, throwing the flesh golems on them, just try to tie them up. It's a really good start.
Yeah.
Oh, it's true. Like, if you roll Necro in REL, you show up and you get a free Mighty Blow. It's how it works. That's a weird camera angle. I mean, yes, this is certainly luckier than expected, but it's correct. Like, it's how you want to play Necro in general.
So he's not attempting to clear the ball here. Means he's probably dodging off.
He does have dodge. It's a 75%.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Oh, and as Khemri, you learn to love the 75%. Easy. Both dodges he's made so far have been 6s. Could have dodged a Tomb Guardians.
Foul if he wants. No, he just gets a hit.
So we do escape away from those wolves, which is nice, and we're getting more consolidated with the Tomb Guardians, which is what he really, really needs to do here, especially down his two speedy Blitzras.
He's recaged up, but I mean, there's still.
He's caged up, but he's now caged up on Tomb Guardians, which is the bigger deal. But more head hunting with the Strength Wolf.
Not the ideal result there.
No. Would have rathered the knockdown and follow up to be on the ball there, certainly. Thick skeleton.
Thick.
Best clan. Not thick skull there, but it's just a stun. Natural stun. Another reroll down, and we find the both down anyway. That's not ideal. Down to one reroll. Not where...
And more importantly, turnover.
Yeah, turnover where we have a hit on the skeleton back there, which leaves an open hole, certainly, to the ball. Or the zombie could GFI one die, but I think it's probably better to punch the skeleton out of the way, and then... That was an interesting choice. Could he not have just punched the skeleton with the... That was the weirdest turn I've ever seen.
What?
Okay, hang on a sec. Could he not have just punched that skeleton with that white, and even if it was a both down, use the white on the floor to go through? He didn't have enough movement, I don't think. Or if he was going to do that, why not do it with the wolf, who has... Oh, it's on, on tackle?
The wolf could have done something. Yeah, that was weird.
The wolf is on tackle, so it's not as good.
Well,
But-
the other wolf.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely better plays there than dodge out, come back in, blitz the person you dodged away from, and then double skull.
After having wasted your reroll.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do that, you could have just blitzed the player you were on. I feel like that might have been like, I've got to hit on the ball if I dodge out, and then he messed up and realized he didn't. He was too far away or something. It might have just been like a mistake.
Maybe he was gonna go for a harder dodge afterwards if the first one worked.
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to tell what someone is thinking looking at the replays, but I feel like that was a suboptimal play.
Classic eye cage here.
Well, with guard on both sides, it's not really that bad.
And then this game just continues to give us
So weird.
more kills.
This is not how I expected this game to go. I was like... Sorry. Khemri on offense first. Okay, they're gonna just beat the crap out of some Necro and then probably score eventually. Not Necro beat the crap out of Khemri and then Khemri like weird rush potato forward with an eye cage while like everybody dub skulls at each other. This is not how I expected this game to be.
Who gets the strength werewolf into a better spot? One of the downsides of Frenzy, though, he had to make an extra dodge because he had to follow his block.
Yeah. And there goes the throw raw. Off to space. I might be ahead of you, but I'm streaming, so that's okay. The throw raw is very potato. The block on the Tomb Guardian also serving very well there, because we rolled more both downs for the Khemri.
That is starchy as you can get.
Yeah, can the wolf reach that? 1, 2, 3, 4,
yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If he dodges out, he can... Oh, and then we're going to end of turn lightning bolt the wolf. That'll do it.
Yeah, okay, so the lightning bolt is really the only way you can stop the hit on the ball.
Yeah, if that lightning bolt was a failure, he could double GFI with an easy dodge to mark, but he's Agi 5, so he would have just dodged through the Tomb Guardian and just surfed the ball even.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Let me know when Skinny Pete dies.
Oh, there it is. Catch up a bit.
He did regen though. Yeah, he was just gonna dodge through, exactly. The bolt was the only way to fix that. I'm not sure why he dodged. Well, I guess because you can't make it anyway, so you might as well make the dodge easier. Threatening the ball there, being like, score next turn or I will sack you. And the claw doing a thing, although just resulting in a stun.
It's a good blitz, though, to get him up to the ball.
One more GFI? Yeah, excellent. So now it's you must score next turn, or I'm going to take it from you and you're not scoring. And on top of that, you have to roll a dodge to do it, because there's nothing else you can do to stop this.
But more importantly, you have to give me 2 turns when I have an Agi 5 werewolf.
Yeah. You do not want to do that. And that's why your Pete should always be plump and not skinny. Or thick Pete. I agree. I agree 100%. Being the clan leader of Clan Thick, I have to agree. And, well, yeah, we're going to go for the damage here, certainly, as McMacky. We know that scoring is going to have to be a dice-based play at this point, so we might as well take all the blocks and see if we can get some more removals before we fail the dodge.
Yeah, I mean, rolling all the 6s, he was due.
3 and a 1. Disappointing, although gambler's fallacy there, Tself. Gambler's fallacy. Look at all those KOs. As soon as this half ends, the Necro are going to be pleased again. Assuming they come back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I mean, they only get 1 set of KO rolls now because the score didn't happen.
That's true. You know, on average, you expect 3 of them. That's a Snake Eyes. Into a KO. Never mind. Oh my god. These KOs. What is this?
KO. No Babe for the Necro. Necro are actually the higher TV team in this game.
Yeah, the Khemri have a wizard, which has been used in a bribe. Even if some of those KOs stay out, TravelScrabble is a massive bench, and the Khemri not scoring on their drive and burning their wizard is basically the best outcome you could have asked for, really, in the first half. You know, maybe if you scored, it would have been better.
No players on the pitch now.
I mean, maybe, but they're all KOs, and you have a bench, so... And at least 1 wolf. That's all you really need, right?
This time the dodge works, and the pickup.
Oh, you're ahead this time.
Oh.
That's fine. There's the dodge. We got a Tomb Guardian scoring threat. Pick up. GFI. Oh my god, are we going to actually score off this? Throw Raw's doing a throw. It worked! Oh, he failed the catch. Come on, reroll. Ah, damn. That would have been amazing.
His passing dice weren't blessed enough.
No, I would have eaten my own words there after I said the Khemri art didn't score. We could surf the Tomb Guardian. Alex not to.
Requires a pretty difficult dodge.
Yeah, that's true. And it's uphill, but...
Which was probably likely to result in a KO.
Probably, yeah. Okay, one of the Blitzraws is back. I think it's the second one. And for the Necro, we get everything but 2, and I think those 2 are mostly zombies.
Yeah, and the Agi werewolf coming back is huge, although we're still missing the ghoul.
Yeah, we're missing the ghoul, which is unfortunate, and we're missing the, like, kick-fend utility zombie, yeah. But who cares with the utility zombie? It's offense time now. We don't need kick.
I mean, wrestle's nice, but...
Well, like, wrestle and fend screams LOS zombie to me, but then kick does not.
Yeah, kick means he's not on the LOS.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I mean, I guess if you're fielding a kick zombie, you want him to be useful for other things other than kick, because he's not just going to be line fodder. I suppose that makes sense a little bit.
I think he was ideal before the 3rd level up, and then he just accidentally got more SCP.
Yeah, and then TravelScrabble probably didn't want to drop the kick, so we're waiting for another zombie to level, grab kick, and then maybe recycle him to save a little bit of TV, but we'll see. It's an interesting defensive setup. I don't know if I've seen things like that. I don't think I've seen something like this before. The, like, 2 little T's for the Khemri. Like, protecting 2 pieces very seriously.
Yeah, protecting his tackle guys.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But it seems, like, overly defensive. I don't know. Maybe, we'll see. With how I doubt TravelScrabble is gonna go for, like, a 2-turn type thing, like, immediately. He's not gonna play like elves. But if he wanted to, this would be a great opportunity to do so. He could get one of those wolves down so far away from the Tomb Guardians. This is their T-pose. It's specially in honor of Tself. That's why he's doing it.
Yeah, keeping his Tomb Guardian central, I guess.
I mean, it's true. I just haven't seen anything like it before.
Does mean he gets his Blodge Throw Raw blitzed by the Strength White.
Which is what I was mostly worried about when seeing this. Like, if I saw this setup, I would immediately blitz that Blodge Throw Raw, but he turned out alright, so that's fine. And more skulls!
And more bad dice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's like the 4th or 5th turnover on blocks this game.
Sadly, we need more KOs.
Certainly
There's only been
average.
like 10. It's the second dub skull. There's been a lot of the Khemri have rolled a lot of like both down, re-rolled both down on their blockless Tomb Guardians. Like a lot of that has happened. I think the Necro have rolled 2 sets of dub skulls.
I like the choice to not re-roll it.
Yeah, so do I. It's not necessary. It would be 100% greed.
Ooh, there's a cool use of a chain push.
Yeah, getting your skeleton free.
Free for a foul.
Free for it just gives him an extra assist for that stompy. Though we miss it by 1, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's really looking to pick up Dirty Player on Stumpy the Great too.
It's perfect. I mean, that's what he's named for, right?
Yeah, well, he's replacing an old favorite that had Dirty Player.
Stompy the Great?
Yes.
Stompy
Have
the
you
Great
heard
number
of
1?
the legend?
I don't think I have.
I mean, he made the Superstar Shootout.
Well, then I've probably seen it or heard it. I just forget things very frequently. I have a pretty terrible
he,
memory for stuff sometimes.
He got Kaz'd dead once, 2 perms in the same game, and came back all 3 times to keep fouling.
What a hero. Well, that's an injured zombie. Who cares? Man, I love the Superstar Shootout. I missed most of it live this year because I was away on a work trip, but I really enjoy it. One of these days, they'll have Nurgle back. I know it sucks because it's Nurgle Chaos only, but I want to put in my Beast Man.
That's kind of one of the reasons why Imperium's so popular, is because you kind of get to like at least play with some of those players a bit.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the first season, that's another injury, but this one regens. It looks like.
Yep.
I'm really excited for this first season of Imperium. I was surprised away on a work trip, but also I was very busy for the last 2 weeks of Imperium leading up to the Clan Cup. Then I was away one of the weeks, and then I was busy another week or something. So I missed a little bit leading up to it, and I missed the Clan Cup, mostly because I just couldn't sign up in time. So I haven't done Imperium in a really long time, and I'm so excited to get back into it. It's such a good time. And as is Steakmittens tradition, we sort of ignore the game for 2 turns while I talk about something else.
I mean, not much is happening yet.
It's pretty much what I do, apparently.
Werewolf coming downfield as a scoring threat.
Yep, and then the Agi Wolf just kind of sitting in the back. We've got that Agi, we might as well use it. So he's going to be able to move, 8 squares and then pass pretty reliably.
I think this is kind of brought on by that, just losing a couple zombies quickly. He's starting to not have much control on the pitch.
Yeah, he's going to run out of the zombies that are going to be able to tie up the Tomb Guardians. And eventually the Khemri are just going to remove enough players where they're going to make it hard for the Necro to score on a play that isn't sort of a quick pass, handoff, run, sort of utilize that crazy movement abilities rather than... That's another double skill, but this time it was from McMacky. Utilize that movement to get the touchdown rather than, slowly move forward.
Running through very key there to be able to mark up this white rather than being stuck on him.
I played my first game ever with Juggernaut last week, and I just forgot what it did. I didn't... At one point, I hit with Juggernaut, and then got, on a wrestle player, and got both down push, and just took push, because I completely 100% just didn't remember that I could have ignored the wrestle with the Juggernaut. And I didn't even know. I didn't even realize I made a mistake until I watched my div recap. And Stouticus was like, yeah, there's a couple things that happened in this match. One, Ragedorf did this. 2, Steakmittens hit with Juggernaut and then just didn't use it. And I was like, I did? I just straight up forgot that Juggernaut did things. Because it's my first game I've ever played with it. I don't know what to do.
Doing a very classic move here of setting up tons of scoring threats and using them as a decoy.
Yeah, Khemri are faster than people expect, certainly. The Tomb Guardians and the Throw-Ras, or the Throw-Ras and the Blitz-Ras are 6, and the Skeletons are 5, which is faster than a lot of people would expect. It's just the Tomb Guardians that are slow. People see Tomb Guardians and think, Mummies, movement 3, but really they're movement 4? It's basically like a Nurgle team, in that, the big guys are movement 4, and then there's a bunch of movement 6 and 5 around. It's the same sort of speed as Nurgle.
Is continuing to be the bane of werewolves.
Yeah, and McMacky is certainly good at that, right? Look at the spacing here. They're all close enough that they can support each other, but they're far enough that he's covering the whole center of the pitch with the 4 Tomb Guardians. He's certainly a very good Khemri player. It's hard to argue that. There's a reason why he's in Div 1 and with a really good record.
There's a reason why his record is something stupid like 34, 6 and 3 or
There's
something.
another double skill. McMackie's a very good Khemri coach. Herringzord does pretty well with them too, but I think it's hard to dispute McMacky as king of Khemri in REBBL. Not committing too hard to anywhere, really, right? He's just got all of his fast pieces, like the tackle fast pieces in the middle, ready to react to the wolves. He's got his Tomb Guardians spread out while they can still support each other, and then he's trying to utilize that, so staying nice and like defensive while trying to utilize the Blitz-Raw Blitzes and the Tomb Guardians to get removals, and it's working out. He's doing pretty well so far. He's not putting any pressure on the ball, but TravelScrabble is not really in a position where he feels like it's safe to move forward. So McMacky's just like, cool, I'll stay here and keep hitting stuff.
Try to dodge our white out, but rolls 2.
Unfortunate. So this will be an interesting turn, I think, right? He's still too far away to pressure the ball, but he's got a lot of free players. So this is the kind of turn where you can really see the positioning that he's going to set up here. And he'll put players in very deliberate positions, I think, and we can kind of see the positioning.
Dare say that he might come in with a foul onto Top Cat because of the niggle.
I would be very surprised if he did not. We got a free skeleton, we've got a free dirty player skeleton, we've got a bribe.
And a bribe. Yeah.
The question is he going to commit some of his faster pieces that are acting as safeties right now to help with the foul?
I don't see it being a problem because
no,
they can still reposition. Well, at least like commit one of them, maybe.
Yeah, the wolves are pretty far away. I think I would commit the wrestle tackle maybe, and then leave the blitz or the juggernaut available.
The problem with committing them to the foul is he kind of wants to get to this ball sometime soon, because otherwise it's only going to be a tie.
Yeah, so he does half of what we said. He commits nobody, but he leaves one person back as a safety, and then he moves the other one forward to put a little bit more pressure on the ball, and then just does the slightly weaker foul. Fend, doing a thing there. Once again, good positioning, right? So like the only way for that white to blitz himself free, like the dodges were hard because there was a player on both sides. If he tried to blitz himself free up top, he's next to the Tomb Guardian. If he tries to blitz himself free bottom, there's Fend. So
I'm actually kind of surprised that TravelScrabble didn't go for the big play this turn and try to get the ball up by on the strength 4 white.
Yeah, it could have been the only. Well, it's not necessarily safe, but
it's not safe. But I feel like just heading backwards puts you even further away now, because that werewolf, even if he moves his full distance, is going to have to throw it quite long distance to get up to this white.
Well, Agi 5. And we are turn 14. This has gone way faster than I expected. We have seen no touchdowns. I saw the score before we started because of the, looking at replays, and I don't remember what it was. So, perfect.
Oof. Big mighty blow coming in.
Yeah, that is a big mighty blow. Muttley Jr. going down. That's the sort of link, too. Right, we had the werewolf in the back and the werewolf in the middle, and then the white in front, kind of setting up for like the handoff pass type of play there. But with the middle link gone and the only scoring threats caged, things aren't looking great for TravelScrabble right here. I like Kalaric's statement there. He's chilling as McSnakey constricts like a boa. Wolf can run off to the side, but he's out of range by himself currently, right? Yeah. And the scoring
Last
threats
re-rolls.
are... Well, the white does get himself free here.
So we have a scoring threat.
We do. We're gonna have to... You have to get somebody in the way. That Tomb Guardian?
He has 2 scoring threats.
That's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one is a GFI with no rerolls.
will require someone to stand on him, though.
That is true.
I do agree with committing 2 players to the strength 4 ag 4 one.
The closer one, yeah. And the more likely receiver.
Though I expect he's just going to try and blitz himself into the end zone.
Likely. Although we got wrestle, so there's a chance that it might screw him up with no rerolls. We do get to mark up the ball
but that's
as well.
if we even have a chance.
Can we blitz the ball?
We can definitely blitz the ball.
So that's what we're going to do. I was going to say, I'm surprised he's not blitzing one of the scoring threats, but he can hit the ball, so we're going to do that. With wrestle tackle,
I think what I'm more surprised with is that the werewolf didn't just
that'll do it.
Punt the ball. This
Yeah,
turn.
because he couldn't have gotten himself out of range.
A smarter play. Like he couldn't. You guarantee that you're not going to lose the game if you punt it, and you can just like punt it short, like kind of like to the middle of the field, so that
maybe you could retrieve it and then hand it off again.
Yeah, still pass it again the next turn.
I never really think about punts very often, so you know it's a thing that not every Blood Bowl coach often remembers is like a reasonable play sometimes, and I think it would have been a good option there.
What did we fail there? Why didn't we pick the ball up with the werewolf?
That's a good question. The John Cutesack failed a dodge, right?
Yeah, a dodge.
The flesh golem failed a dodge.
Flesh golem. Instead of picking the ball up with an edgy 5 player?
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, there were a couple of like misplays, I think, from TravelScrabble here.
Yeah, mostly just on those last 2 turns, though. I think he did a good job with the ball before then.
There was the one weird white dodge back in blitz target you were already on as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of like when you have 2 coaches that have such good records and are clearly pretty good at playing their teams, like even 1 or 2 little mistakes can cause huge changes. But that is a win to Khemri do it. Yes, we can, which is unfortunate for me because I predicted that Scooby in the game. We're going to take it.
And it does mean that Khemri will take over the top spot.
It
by
does
2 points in the standings.
Okay, I gotta make notes. Normally Shadorra makes notes for me, but he's not here, so I'm gonna excuse my typing sometimes. So I lose a point and he gains a point. That's unfortunate. Okay, so let's go to the Div 2 review, I suppose, and then we'll come back and look at all the other matches.
Sure.
So that's how we normally do things. It may be better to, or do we want to finish Div 1 first?
It's up to you. I really don't mind.
Let's stick with the normal format, I guess. I was just trying to think, like, which is easier for me when I'm making timestamps later, and they're both functionally equivalent. So let's stick with the same format we've been doing the other weeks. Bring up the title screen so that we don't spoil nothing, in case people have not seen every result. But I know a lot of people in the higher divs care very deeply about results, so a lot of them pay strong attention to the other results in their div. I generally check like once, sort of at the end of a week, to see what happened. I don't really pay attention as the week's going on, but who knows. So we are going to take a look at Fallen Wonders and the Rowdy Rebel Rousers. I believe we've actually looked at both of these teams before, but this was like the 4th and 5th, like, top teams in the top 5. I think Rowdy Rebel Rousers were 2nd last week, and Fall was like 4th or something. I don't remember their exact positions, but the point was they're both pretty serious playoff contenders, and all the other playoff contenders weren't really playing each other this week. And since we are getting close to playoffs, I wanted to make sure we were watching playoff contention matches, ones that make a difference in terms of the standings at the top of the table. So we are going to check out this match. That would be a star player, even. And that's a chainsaw.
Chainsaw. Woo.
I like it.
Roxana's been a pretty common pick for Fall this season.
Roxana's pretty good, turns out. Okay, I am paused at the start.
Okay. I am also at the start.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, play. Let's get some of those skills up there. Well, we can show you what Roxana does if you'd like. She is a Strength 3, Agi 5. So she's an Agi 5 Witch Elf, essentially. So Frenzy, Dodge, Jump Up, Leap, and Juggernaut. She's
an extra movement as well.
Yeah, Agi up, movement up, Leap, Juggernaut, Witch Elf. Very fast, very agile. Leap is great, and Juggernaut, like Leap, Juggernaut, Frenzy is pretty incredible for surfing. Yeah, and we've also got whatever chainsaw the elves get. I forgot they got one. That's a perfect D. Oh, helmet. It's like the human one.
Helmet. Yeah, the same one that the Norse and yeah.
They're always goblins, which I find very funny. My favorite is like Max Spleen Ripper, the Chaos Warrior goblin.
Strength 4 one.
Yeah, so he's a Strength 4 goblin. Because he's supposed to be a Chaos Warrior with a chainsaw, but Cyanide only has one chainsaw model. The goblin is a male.
I think it is supposed to be a dude. Helmet Wolf.
Helmet is supposed to be a dude, yeah. He's like a human guy in like the models. The normal models, he's like a human dude. Like a Norse type looking guy. Team composition no longer canon. Stacking the line quite a bit.
Firm, so you better hope you don't roll pushes against him.
Well, that's a start. That's
a 1 die.
Yeah, I feel like that there was a way there was a not 1 die version there. And I was gonna say Atomex like stacking the line in a way that you don't see that often. When you're on defense, but with all that dodge or with all that strength, guard, and tentacles, it's not actually the worst. And I think it was a perfect D actually, which is why that happened, and I just wasn't paying attention. Yeah, it was a perfect D, which is why that made sense. Never mind, ignore all that previous stuff. But
trying to get yourself out of a perfect is difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I had the 1 die, a lot of tentacles on stuff, and fall down 2 players already. One of them being an injury on that Agi 5 or Agi 4 piece. Just to badly hurt. But, I mean, it was going to go down at armor 6 and niggled to this Nurgle team at some point. But
yeah, this is a very injury-heavy team.
Blodge guard, Blodge firm guard, Agi up is kind of a pretty big deal to lose, unfortunately.
It does look like they do have 5 bench. That is a large bench.
It is. They do have a 16-person team. It's not really like if you're going to do it on any team, it's Nurgle because their star players are terrible. Like the only ones who are good are like Grashnak and Lord Borak. And if you're like down that much TV to the point where one of those is worth it, you're in a rough position as it is. As Nurgle, like it's one of the very few teams that I would say 16-player bench is fine. Just because the star
players run through the lines.
And we're chainsawing the beast of all things, and it works, which is hilarious. It's a armor 9 piece that we go for with the chainsaw. I love it. So Nurgle generally don't want to be down in TV, and a lot of times they're not because they get really bloaty with all their all the skills and expensive players and regen and stuff. They don't lose players that often, so most of the time they're up TV, and that's where they want to be. And the star players are bad, so a full bench is like, pretty
and
reasonable.
They get lots of free rotters thanks to Nurgle's rot.
Yep. The beast stun is actually a pretty big deal. Like a block beast, he has only movement 3, but a block beast to get tentacles and all that strength 3 agi 3 dodge is really handy.
Certainly finding a lot of POWs in this game so far.
That's true. He's got a decent amount of tackle. I suppose I should point out what the predictions were here. There weren't one, because as per usual, by the time we got around to the div review, 3 of the teams had already played their matches. So there were only 3 matches that we could predict last week. Everybody in 2B or 2A plays on Wednesday. Like everybody. I don't get it. I mean, I expect it from Superfed at this point.
You.
He's done it like every week ever. But all the rest of you follow.
Going for a pretty long pass here.
All the rest of you follow in Superfed's example. I don't like it.
Just outside of the stink.
Yeah, I had to stick outside the stink to make it work, but it was. I mean, it's a 3+ pass still because of that.
Using his chainsaw to take out these tentacles players.
Well, no, he's not. Goodbye, chainsaw. Nice chainsaw, idiot. I mean, at least you got the stun on the Beast of Nurgle first, but that's my typical experience with chainsaws. There's a decent amount of tackle on the Nurgle team, like the Pestigor has tackle. There are 2 Chaos Warriors with tackle. The tackle is certainly doing a thing. We are going to be able to blitz the wrestle piece here. Worst case, we leave tentacles on it.
Yeah, not the word. And not only is it tentacles, but it's tentacles that you have to escape from twice because of the angle.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the other Chaos, the Mighty Blow Tackle Chaos Warriors are going to try to take as much vengeance on these Amazons as they can. Just, you know,
smartly getting in front of the guard blitzer, who could have tried to go up and blitz the catcher free. Or the line woman free.
And the Nurgle just outstrength so hard, and they have a good amount of tackle on Mighty Blow. They're just trying to like base up as many Amazons as they can with that tackle and that strength to try and force them to roll dice and fail, and then if they fail, punch them. But Roxana is a player that exists, and Agi4 is a thing.
Agi5 and just saying no thank you to those tentacles.
Easy.
I was actually like trying to think to myself whether
Agi5 is
attempting
broken.
the uphill would be better, but
there was also it was a -2 to pass because of the stink and in a tackle zone, but Agi5, like if it was I think it was close enough to be a short pass to like Roxana in the end zone, and that would have been a 3+2+, right? Unless it was a longer pass.
A 4+. Would have been a 4+.
4+2+.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's better than the double tentacles roll, but I guess tentacles isn't a turnover, so you could try it.
Yeah, it isn't a turnover, but it does stop you from being able to pass. If you fail it.
Does it?
Yep.
If you fail tentacles, you can't pass. I know there's some weird rules about passing in Blood Bowl 2 as compared to tabletop, because you have to declare the pass first in tabletop. So I assumed that it kept working the way that it normally does in Blood Bowl 2, where you can kind of choose to pass whenever you want.
No, the tentacles just ends your action if you fail it.
Ah, I see. So which one? I wonder which. There's several different plays there, and I don't know which one is best. But it doesn't really matter because it worked.
Yeah, I mean none of them were great.
Not really.
To be fair.
Yeah, there was an uphill. There was like a
bad spot.
Harder pass. There was 2 dodges off tentacles. To be fair, it was not the hardest tentacles in the world because it was strength 4 compared to strength 3. It wasn't like it was off strength 5.
Only a 7+.
Which is pretty likely.
Yeah. More likely to work than fail, but you have to do it twice.
That is the biggest question there, is doing it twice. So somebody feel free to run the numbers and tell me which play was better. But you did make the touchdown there and stemmed the bleeding, got those KOs back. We're still out 2, but one of them is the chainsaw, so he doesn't really care. Yeah, I thought it would be an interesting one, Fall, and also it's one where both of you were kind of top of the table and in playoff contention, so I wanted to watch it for that.
It's already shaping up to be pretty sweet game.
We're close to playoffs, so watching people contend for playoff positions is the goal now. We're getting pretty. I don't think anybody has a playoff spot confirmed in any division yet, but we're probably getting pretty close to the point where some people are sort of mathematically guaranteed to go to playoffs.
I think G-Man had one mathematical confirmation.
And probably if there's somebody doing like incredibly well, like an undefeated record in one of the lower divs with like one playoff spot, they're probably pretty confirmed at this point, depending what the rest of the div looks like. But those may be close as well.
Yeah, like I think Random Boy is confirmed in the playoffs.
Is he? That's cool. Vamps.
Yeah. It's an odd season. He always gets in the odd seasons.
It's very true. There's a foul. It's done. He's fine.
So no stand firm on these Nurgle warriors. Probably the only weakness to them.
Random Boys Div 1, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Vamps are at the top of Div 1.
I just want to go check it out. Yeah, I think that's true. He's guaranteed to be top 3. Very likely to come first, but he's guaranteed to be top 3, so he's definitely making playoffs. Well, congrats to Random Boy.
And I think McMacky might be close.
Well, we'll check it out once we get to the results and leaderboard of Div 1.
It's a little harder this season when you only have 4 for the playoffs rather than 5 last season, but
that's true.
Around that time that the tops of Div 1s tend to make their spots. I believe this was around the point where Arch locked it last season.
In my div, it's the top 3 are all super close to each other. Very easily for me, Unseen Walker and Cheese to kind of like rotate around in the top 3 spots. We're all within 1 point of each other, I think. Pretty tight.
More fouls. Might as well foul every turn you can when you have a 5 deep bench.
True.
Ooh. Now this is a sweet play.
In comes Roxana. Leap. Visual bug, so I can't actually see what the result in the dice was.
There's a boof down into stumbles.
And we surf and injure and knock that ball out of play. That's excellent. McMacky is, well, we'll see it in a bit. He's not guaranteed playoffs. He's guaranteed postseason, but there's a very small chance that he's in the Challengers Cup instead of like the playoffs. So he's not guaranteed playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, like, if someone body snatches him and loses all his games for him.
Yeah, then he'll finish 5th instead of, and he'll still get into the postseason, but not playoffs. But it's all but confirmed. 2+ pickup fails. The scatter back in was definitely not too bad because it was in range of the that Agi 5 piece. But having to use a reroll is not exactly what Fall wants there. Down to 0 now. Still has a wizard available. But being up 1-0, having your wizard still.
And having possession of the ball.
Yeah, with potential to make it 2-0 even. Because we have... if we can get Roxana in scoring range next turn pretty easily.
Oh, easily. She is quite good.
Another punch to Amazon.
Gonna try and stop it.
We get tentacles onto the ball here. And we got to do something about... well, not necessarily. We have the safety back there, which is smart. The wrestle, tackle, strength 4. I'm a safety by myself, regardless of who you are, player.
Bird, is that like... That's also on Red Joker's team, right? That exact Festigore.
Plus strength, plus agi wrestle tackle? Yeah, I think so. So Roxana can't score this turn, and he's going to be able to get a good hit on her if she's in scoring range. So the real question is, can Fall get more than one? Pretty likely that we knock Roxana over. And the answer is yes, certainly, but it's going to involve some dice. There have been a lot of POWs. There's a decent amount of tackle on the Nurgle team, but there's been a lot of POWs. That's not unfair to say. like as a Nurgle coach, this is a very typical feeling game for me, right? Like, yeah, I'm removing them. I'm in a good position. Like, I've got them all marked up. I'm rolling a lot of POWs. I'm knocking over all these players, and I'm still losing. It's very Nurgle. Sometimes you just have to. You can't do much against the teams that are like speedy and agi based. It can be really hard to like prevent them from doing what they want. And with the agi that exists on Fall's Amazon team, he's certainly able to do that, despite taking a lot of punches.
So I hope that Atomex sings to himself the Rumblebee song this turn.
Always blitz the scorer, Rumblebee. I need to like write more of that someday. Like I need an opening line like the da 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 da. I need something for those bits. Somebody who's more clever than me should write me like a Rumblebee parody and then I'll sing it. I shouldn't have said that on stream because I'm just gonna do it now.
But instead, we try to go for the ball, try to get our own touchdown, and Roxana's still out there.
Oh, dodge the 2 heads. We get a 1. That's unfortunate. So we have a. Oh, that's the. That's a very distinctive sort of play style decision there, right? There's a lot of coaches that go for the ball and aim for the score. There's a lot of coaches that would go for the scoring threat and just try to prevent the opponent's score. And it depends entirely on like how conservative of a coach you are. I think either play is probably reasonable. And it just really depends on what type of coach you are, I think, which is kind of interesting. Showing off different play styles, certainly. But Fall, you know, doing what I said before, in that sometimes, even if you're doing exactly what you want to as Nurgle, where you're punching all the elves and making them dead, you still just lose because you can't stop them from scoring. And
yeah, I mean, Fall's team is practically an elf team with the amount of Agi 5 he has right now.
Basically, like it's a Nurgle thing. Like, you'll punch the elves, they'll have 2 elves left, and they'll still score, and you'll still lose. The dice are feeling hollow. Papa Nurgle smiles on me, spreading salt and death. Rumblebee, I like it. We'll need to like, I don't know. It's pretty good. I think it might need to be like slightly more Rumblebee themed directly, you know, because the whole point is like singing about Rumblebee. You know, I don't know. That's good. After very after very little effort, that seems pretty good. The song is like about Rumblebee, right? Like, you know, always blitz the score or Rumblebee. So maybe we should make it a little bit more like Rumblebee specific. That's a blitz. Not that it really matters when you've lined up. Yeah, just straight up presses end turn. Or end blitz or whatever.
Yeah, still says it end turn there, but yeah.
Nurgle will just take a bunch of hits here. And then...
bunch of hits and a foul.
Yeah, and then they'll be pretty sad going into the second half. I mean, Fall still has a wizard, and the Nurgle are down 2-0.
2 touchdowns, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult for Nurgle to... Well, it's
3 time in 1 half.
Yeah, I mean, it's been done. It's just not easy, especially if you don't have like a movement pestigore, because like at best you're moving forward 6 squares. So like, you know, a 2-turn involves GFIs, which is non-ideal. Although, you know, if we can get some damage here and make it so that there are many fewer Amazons, you know, it makes it easier to try to get those two turns because they might not have enough players to actually stop you.
Yeah, the problem is when you have to give them the ball back and then they try to stall it out a bunch of turns.
Yeah, it really depends on how...
them.
This is where you have to like pray to remove stuff, and people will grumble about, you know, control Nurgle controlling people into the box, ha ha ha, but they're not going to be able to win if they don't, because the only way that they have a good shot at A, scoring quickly, and B, turning you over is if you don't have enough players to stop them from doing so, right? So they got to play to their strengths.
And Fall certainly has players. All these KOs keep coming back.
Yeah, only 2 injuries, and one of them was self-inflicted.
Self-inflicted by the chainsaw. So it wasn't really even an injury because he would have been sent off anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Self-inflicted chainsaw because he scored like the next turn or something.
It is worth noting that there are still 2 apothecaries and 2 babes in play for the Amazons as well.
Good lord. Yeah, they're in good shape here. I would be like super close. I mean, obviously you still try to like win, but I would be very super close to giving up on the hope of winning and just try to gain SPP like very shortly, depending on how these line blocks go. With 2 babes, 2 appos, and a wizard, and 8 turns to score 3 times, I would not be very confident. Let's put it that way. Oh, I love it. I'll have to remember. I'll have to write that down. Might need to like practice the opening lines once or twice.
I mean, quick snap, it kind of like eliminates that need for that GFI.
I mean, that's true. That's one step down. The problem is, I mean, Amazons. I mean, one of the scoring threats is just straight up surfable right now.
Yeah, but I mean, he gets to move first.
That is true. We'll see what he does.
Well, he rolled dice, so
that's very fair.
I mean, he could have quad skulled and gotten his scoring threat served.
I mean, I guess it's fair to give your opponent a turn, I suppose. If only we were allowed to like just like skip your opponent's turns, if this game would be so much easier.
All 3 of those movements by those 2 pesticores and the Nurgle warrior should have happened before that block.
I think so, yeah. If you're being like super technical. Follow this up so that we can get the beast a friend, and then we can punch with him. He's not really doing much right now. Oh well, we're not gonna follow up. The beast is not really doing a whole lot right now. I'd consider just throwing out another mighty blow with him, especially since he has block. But without the really stupid assist, it's probably not worth.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth following, I think, with that Pestigore.
Give him a stomp and just a stun. We don't even need to use these appos at this rate. Should have appoed the chainsaw, kept him on.
No bribe, it would have been a pretty bad use of an appo.
Probably.
Could have appoed the guard stand firm, but I mean, when you're playing against a team that has this much kill potential, you feel really bad appoing anything that's not a permanent injury.
Yeah, well, when you have 2, you can kind of like half and half it a little bit, right? Where you have one for like the aggressive, badly hurt win game appo, and one for the save one for the star player death kind of thing.
I usually do that when I pick up a second appo.
Really depends on how the injury dice go. You gotta sort of make a call at the time. There's the pass. Weird camera, just zooming right in on Roxana there instead of the guy who caught the pass, but okay. So we've got it in the middle of the field. We can blitz this Amazon out of the way, which will give us a path through here to do a handoff, and we can score. So well done from Atomex here to...
try to win, yeah.
Still got a 1 die, or still got a 2+, I mean. There we go.
Yeah, catch and GFI.
Makes that, so well done to, you know, certainly keep it within 1. This is the biggest problem right here, though, is that the Amazons get the ball now.
Yeah, the Amazons still have a ton of players and get the ball.
They still have a wizard, so like the turnover is going to be the hard part. But if you can pull off the turnover or like burn the wizard or something, then you have a shot. But the turnover is the real hard part there. Man, the crowd
the real
is just
problem
so
is that
ugly.
he has to do the turnover twice.
Yeah, it's the first one is going to be the hardest, I think. He does have to do it twice, and as we know, doing something twice that involves dice is certainly harder than doing it once. But the first time, he still has a full team. He still has both appos. He still has a wizard. I'd be very surprised if over the next couple turns attempting to turn over didn't burn at least one of those resources. But we're gonna have to get through most of them if we want to have an easy time with the turnovers. Man, like, I don't know, I point this out ever so frequently, but like the crowd animations are so bad. Look at those goblins, they're so ugly. I mean, I 100% get it. It's just like they're just trying to put some motion in the back so it looks like it's exciting and there's people there. And they don't want to spend effort on like actually animating them because that's dumb and would just slow down certain people's computers. That's a pitched invasion.
Woof.
But if you actually like zoom in on them, they're so stupid.
So which side had the fame? It looks like Fall had the fame. Didn't get much out of it for it. One extra stun.
You can
Though
just
quite importantly, it did get down the tackle and the tentacles over on the left-hand side of the pitch.
Yeah, he's going to be able to do the and it's leaving some holes too, so it's going to be able to we're going to be able to do the elf thing.
Roxanne is also down.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. We can get a scoring threat though. And we do, and we have a lot of other players relatively tied up. And that scoring threat is Blodgefen sidestep. So with the tackle on the floor, removing that scoring threat is a bit of an ask.
And the ball is now on Elkano the Seducer, the player you can actually pick up in Imperium.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, I actually opened her in a pack a couple days ago.
The list of like legends that exist hasn't been like actually formally published, has it? Because it's supposed to be a surprise.
It was pseudo published a while ago, but then
redacted.
Like, hasn't really been public knowledge. But
fair enough.
I've seen.
We tried to reroll. They're really stupid. I don't know if that was the correct choice.
But in general, you can kind of assume that if it's a race that isn't played very much, that the teams you know have a player from them.
Oh, probably. I know Yaza of Mucus is in there, but I wonder what other Nurgle players, if any. I mean, I'd be very surprised if like one of Metal's Pestigores wasn't in there somewhere.
Yeah,
like
I'd be
Boxers
surprised
from your mom
if
or something.
Boxers from your mom isn't there.
Although my beast is starting to become a candidate.
I'm gonna go for this throw.
Into Disturbing Presence, but Agi 5, so it doesn't matter.
Agi 5.
Well, it's actually a 3+ catch, because there were two stinks.
+1, -2, so -1. Yeah, 3+. But with the cat... No, not with the catch skill, it's a lineman. I keep forgetting that that's not a catcher.
Yeah, it's just Agi 5. But this looks like it's going to go 3-1 to Fall, with the wizard still in play, which is the...
And at that point, like... I mean, we're talking like 4 turns for the... Yeah, 4 turns for the Nurgle.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean,
Not good at all.
Every turn Fall feels comfortable stalling here is a massive win. Like, just removing a little bit more time for the Nurgle. Like, if you score next turn, like, technically, if the Nurgle are incredibly aggressive, they can still do it.
Next turn, like, even if you think you can stall, you shouldn't at this point, because it's a 2 touchdown lead.
Yeah, and you still have the wizard, probably. I think that's... If you didn't have the wizard, I think I would try to stall, but since you still have the wizard, I think just straight up going up another touchdown is probably the best choice.
Especially if it's like looks like as easy as it's going to be, because he's not really defending it well.
Well, he can't really. Unfortunately, the players that
he
needed to
can't
defend
really
it were stunned and stuff.
Yeah, the pitch invasion was big.
By the way, I'm drinking water from a rum bottle and rum from a glass, if that makes everybody pretty excellent. That was a lightning bolt, which I don't know if was useful.
It's a I'm stalling lightning bolt.
That is absolutely a stall lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I was right in a way. If you don't have the lightning bolt, stalling is a good idea.
I mean, using the lightning bolt got him a relatively okay stall there because the Agi Pestigore is down on the floor now.
Did you wizard yourself, Razzlestorm, just to try and claim that bounty? And you almost got it. Damn.
I mean, that bounty's been there for how long now?
Seasons. So long.
Seasons.
No, nobody in their right mind is going to try to perm a leveled player on their own team with their own wizard. What kind of a position do you have to be in to like be ready to give up your wizard like that and a player that you care about?
You have to be re-rolling already.
Pretty much. Hey, it's me! I got KO'd. The
How
player...
does it feel to be KO'd by one of the best players in Rebel history?
Pork Shorts is actually named after me, FYI, everybody.
Yeah, and you were KO'd by Horny Cricket, 2-time Super Bowl winner.
I don't want to get punched by Horny Cricket. I don't remember why that player is named after me. I think it was like Metal had an Amazon team, or somebody had an Amazon team that he named all the players like weird variations of people. Like he had Blue Metal Guy and stuff like that, like all the weird names. And like Not a Racist Dinosaur. Stuff like that. And Pork Shorts was me. I think I got bought. Must have gotten bought by Fall. Babe's still doing babe things, keeping those Amazons in it. However, the Pestigore stays out, and we're now up 3-1 with 3 turns to go for the Nurgle. So, as the Nurgle, well, especially on my Nurgle team, because I have a security gate, so you can't get the riot for the extra turn. I would give up on trying to win at this point and just start trying to punch Amazons for SPP on important players.
Yeah, and maybe try and score on a player that needs it rather than trying to go for a quicker score.
Yeah, try to get it to like a Nurgle Warrior or something.
Especially here's a just a KO, 75 out of 76 Nurgle Warrior who really wants the Kaz.
Yeah, I know, right? It's certainly an interesting game,
you
though.
always seem to get stuck at that one away, right?
Yep. Took me like 5 games to get my beast the last 2 SPP he needed, or 3 SPP, for his most recent level. Understand. Certainly an interesting game. A lot of cool stuff from Fall.
I think that's 3 or 4 turns in a row now that the Sage is really stupided.
You call him the Sage stupid? That's not very nice. He's a nice man.
I don't know. I mean, pretty stupid. 4 in a row.
There goes one of the apples.
You can't lie to the dice.
There goes one of the apples, and that puts Horny Cricket at 100 SPP. Nice even 100.
It was onto an MNG, but I guess he really wanted that Russell from the next week.
Well, he's got...
Or has the point of, I'm probably not going to take too many more injuries before the end of this match.
I think it's 3 turns and 2 appos.
Yeah. I think the one thing that really sucks about appos is that you can't use them like bribes. Like if you fail an appo, you can't just keep using them.
Oh, I see, yeah. It's not like the, oh, I didn't have to use the bribe. Because I didn't roll doubles. Or do you mean like the, if you like roll a 1 on a bribe, you can use another one?
Yeah, if you roll a 1 on a bribe, you can try to bribe again.
Yeah,
you can't do that with appos, which is unfortunate.
Use another appo and re-roll it a second time. I mean, that seems really good, but the number of cases where you have 2 appos is pretty minimal. Although I feel like people would value it a lot higher if you could do that.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd see a lot more double appo inducements. Well, we do have players in scoring range, so it looks like we are going to attempt it, at least.
Yeah, it's still 2 more turns as well.
Here goes the Sage. Not stupid this time, although very slow, considering movement 3. What a slow boy. You know what's great?
So
Movement 5 beast. Yeah. Alright, trying to grab some more SPP on Sand Dune here. Not grabbing it.
I'm surprised. I thought that Luminous would be blitzing, but
Yeah, you'd think. Although he may be...
I guess not having tackle makes it less likely to work, but...
well, the other thing is that Atomex is top of the table, and it's a very tight top of the table in Div 2A. Like, there's still, like, 8 teams that are within playoff range. So, like, the TD difference, like, or TD differential might actually make a pretty big difference when it comes down to it at the end of the season. So
yeah, but I don't think Fall is really set up for a score next turn. Like, I mean, I guess, like, technically Roxana could still score from back here, but...
I think it's more about... He's trying to push that Sarah II out of the way, and the easiest way to do that was with Sand Dune, so that he had a better chance at scoring himself to try and keep the touchdown differential minimal, rather than just trying to greed the SPP, is probably what the thinking was there, I think. Turn 16. Let's see if we can reduce that touchdown differential and grab another one. We do have a couple scoring threats. If we can knock down this one Amazon, we can just walk over and hand off to Barry Sanders.
Yeah, and Roxana finding the skull on that to free him up was pretty good.
Yeah, so it's not a difficult touchdown here if we knock over this Amazon, or even just push her out of the way is good enough to be fair.
Oh man, Sage. Not doing any favors for his reputation here.
Not finding the knockdown at first, but a push was good enough, and then we do another hit and find the knockdown this time. Piling on, doing nothing. Throw some more hits, see if we can get that SPP with Horny Necro Cricket. And off goes the Rotter. Oh, fails the GFI. It's 2 GFIs to make it a handoff instead of a pass. He's gonna go for the GFIs, I think. Nope, he did one and failed it, so just immediately goes for the pass. And makes it, so now we're gonna be able to score and make it 3-2.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean...
Why didn't he just GFI next and hand off?
He could have either just... Well, it was a 3...
The Amazon.
It was
fine.
It was a 3+2+ if he just did the pass. And it was at, what, like 2+2+2+?
No, like he did that GFI in the wrong direction. Like he could have just GFI'd next to the ball, only one.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, a bit of a mistake there, but it turns out it didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. He got the touchdown. Got an extra SPP for it.
But yeah, that's true. Strictly less good, however, still worked out. In the Amazons can one turn here. I mean, Roxana is moving 8.
I mean, if I was Fall, I'd just put one SPP on a player you like and hit some Rotters, try to get some SPP, and then just hit end turn.
I mean, that's true.
I don't want to waste mental just thinking of doing the one turn. I mean, it might actually just be worth doing the one turn for practice if you think of it that way. But
well, yeah, that's like
you've been playing for a long game already. It seems like this game would have been long.
Yeah, and difficult.
Just because there's a lot of things happening.
I'm more looking at it from Atomex's point of view, though. Like, this is not the way to defend against a one turn, and so you're just you're giving your opponent the option really easily here. Whether or not Fall decides to do it is kind of irrelevant. Like, you should probably set up to prevent it. I guess it doesn't matter, because if he one turns, it doesn't really change anything about your game, so you might as well protect your players. I don't know. There's a lot that could go into the thinking here. You know, will he bother to one turn? If he is, I should probably set up to defend against it, because touchdown differential is a thing. But if I just set up to defend against it, he can punch my better players. Like, there's a lot of thought here. Yeah. So it's hard to really fault one way or the other. But yeah, definitely not going. Just punching some Rotters.
Which is what I think I would do. I mean, like,
It's probably what I would do too. I feel like I would set up to defend against the one turn and then be like, wait, what am I doing? It doesn't matter if you one turns, I've already lost, and then just move stuff back and then take 4 minutes to set up, because that's a very typical me thing to do. We grabbed the Vanity Pass at the end, MVP on a Rodder and a rookie and a line or loner line woman, so that doesn't result in anything useful. This is hilarious. 25 armor breaks, and there was 2 injuries, and one of them was a self-injury.
Self-inflict.
Just because of how many KOs there were and how many came back, and the Apo and all that good stuff. It's a lot of armor breaks with no real results.
Lots of KOs.
Atomex did a good job of keeping it this close. I probably, like, a lot of Nurgle teams probably would have given up quite a bit earlier, but the way Nurgle are going to win that match is with removals, and they were not getting the permanent removals that they needed to make it hard for Fall to stop, or make it hard for Fall to not score. Easy for Fall to not score. Hard for Fall to score. Words are difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you always have the situation when your opponent gets those 2 babes that, like, you just have to hope that you're on the Kaz side of removals rather than the KO side, because 2 babes just so likely to get them back.
Yeah, and with like Roxana and not much Agi lying around on the Amazons, it's going to be really hard for like a standard Nurgle team to stop them from scoring if they don't just remove players. And with the babes and the double Apos, it's difficult to remove. So,
and I mean, the funny thing is, like, he actually had the game in the bag right at the beginning, but then, 2 dodges away from tentacles, a score, and it gets reset, and Fall just took full advantage of that score and went up more.
Let's go back to Div 1, and then we can go over the other matches that occurred that week. So I gotta pull up my predictions on my notepad and stuff, because I've got to do all the work now. God. Okay, so Fear and Bloating versus the Rebellious Scions. We both predicted that the Nurgle would take this, and they did. So, and that's a point for both of us.
Woo! I was right.
Hooray! Yeah, so Nurgle 1-0, 14 armor breaks versus 9. 10 KOs sustained and 1 casualty off 14 armor breaks. So some hot injury dice, as it were, with 11 removals from 14 armor breaks. Oof. It turns out it's difficult to win games when you have no players on the field. How many KO rolls were made? 6. So he made all of them, though. 100%.
Yeah, got them all back, and then they immediately detoured back to the sideline.
Yeah, 1-0, that many KOs coming back in indicates to me
Plus,
that...
really, like, one of the things we can't tell in these stat pages is when the KOs happened, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if all those wake-ups are, like, turn 16, does it really matter?
I was going to say that. Because of the 1-0 score and all the KOs, I imagine it was like nobody scored first half, but there were a decent number of KOs. A lot of them came back, and then like it just kept rolling, and then the Nurgle just removed all the Dark Elves and just stalled till turn 16 and scored to make it the 1-0. And we had Khemri Do It Yes We Can versus Scooby and the Gang, which we watched. Grody Greens and Grungy Desserts. We predicted that Stouticus would take this one, which I believe is the Grungy Desserts. Yes. And it was a 1-1 tie. This was Admint, because there was 0 stats of any kind. Never mind. Ignore that result.
Yeah.
I wonder why that was Admint. Probably couldn't get something played, but since it was a 1-1...
Maybe their schedules just didn't match up against each other's.
That's disappointing. Oh well. Hey, look. Pantheon Passers versus Archangel's Will. Let's see. The prediction... I predicted the Pro-Elves would win, and Justin predicted that the Wood-Elves would win, so of course that happened this way.
Yeah. It was a game.
Well, tell me about it.
It's actually like a really good game in all honesty, but like it all came down to who you see there on the MVP screen, and that was He Who Catches Unseen.
He's such a good player.
Complete asshole.
I mean, Agi 5 Leap, so he's pretty incredible.
What happened is the crowd decided to throw a rock at my safe throw, Sifmuna. who then proceeded to stay out the rest of the game.
Oh no.
And on both halves, I had cases where I needed to move some GFIs to avoid being able to be intercepted by that guy, and won the GFIs.
Oof.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was an interesting game in the fact that I think it went pretty common to how both me and Archangel thought it would.
Right.
We both were able to like force each other to score certain times. But then he who catches unseen just took me out of the game because I didn't have my safe throw that I was planning on using.
Yeah, he who catches unseen is such a good player, and then he also has the 2 like Mighty Blow War Dancers that turn out are pretty good at hunting down pro elves. So
yeah, I mean they were actually pretty poor in the game.
Well, he was
Neither
able to
of our Mighty
out-Kaz you a
Blows
little
fired.
bit.
Yeah, I mean most of the Kazes were on failures. Like I Kaz one of my
see.
best players on a GFI at turn 16, which is what got me the infamous, super salty on that game. But...
Well, god damn it, you ruined my score. I hate you. Start winning. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's that game. Then we have the High Fivers and the Battle Brothers. Now I've got to look up more things because Shadora's not here. What a lazy idiot. I'm just going to insult him because he's not here. It's fine. Don't tell him. The Brets versus Necro. We both predicted the Bretonians would take this, and we both right. So at least I'm at 0 points instead of negative so far. Oh boy. Wilhelm grabbing the MVP. We did predict that Wilhelm would show up in this match. Him getting the MVP is certainly unfortunate though. Similar number of removals on both sides, but that's going to favor the Battle Brothers really in the long run, unless those removals were specifically on the Blitzers, because those Blitzers are just so good.
Yeah, no, the Battle Brothers were able to get their long drive and then kind of force the Necro to have to score early in the second half if they wanted to win. And then, that always brings about that dangerous thing of, well, I could go for a draw or I could try to win and have a better chance of losing.
Yeah, that's a question that I struggle with all the time. And most of the time I pick draw because I am too safe of a player a lot of the time, or too cautious. Not necessarily safe because I do stupid things all the time, but when it comes to like the meta of a match, as it were, I'll throw unnecessary dodges at the end of a game to like get an extra block or something, which some people wouldn't do because if you fail the dodge, it's an armor roll. But I'll do that. But I'm I guess cautious in terms of like the meta. Like I would prefer a guaranteed draw than a chance at a win and a chance at a loss a lot of the time. So that's a thing I think I need to work on. Is there's a lot of situations where it would have been pretty favored for me to try to win, but I don't necessarily go for it.
And I mean, like the High Fivers definitely had their chances to win this game, but didn't work out in the end.
Not so good on the KO wake ups, but only slightly below average with one. With that few dice, it's pretty likely to be one on either side or the other. Then we have Ars Gotia Zizeta and Not an Anime Sports Team, which was god damn, I am getting wrecked this week. I predicted the Chaos and Justin predicted the Shadorra predicted the High Elves. And literally every device
getting wrecked.
every divisive pick I have lost. Every single one. So rip my score. I guess I'm gonna bank on the playoff bonus points at this point, but who knows how that's going. Oof. 2-1. Then again, Shadorra is the one who always writes down the predictions, so maybe he's just lying to me afterwards because I don't remember what I say. We could blame him for this anyway.
Yeah.
5 casualties, a KO, or sorry, 1 casualty and 5 KOs sustained for the elves.
Not great because it was on 24 armor breaks or something, 20 something armor rolls.
Yeah, 24 armor rolls. You'd like a bit more in terms of removals for the Chaos, certainly.
Yeah. And the bolt worked and it did its thing, so
yeah, I mean, El's the wizard. Always difficult. And then let's see. Yeah, I think the big thing is just not getting him as many removals as he'd like. Man, those injury
Another
dice.
thing that pretty poor
24
was,
successes.
Pickups and going for it for the chaos were actually pretty poor as well.
Yeah, failed 3 pickups. The go for it's are certainly not what you'd expect. That's not ideal. Failing 3 of 7, kind of expect 1, 2 on average there, or 0, 1 or 2, sort of roughly.
Yeah,
because you can't get negative 1.
Certainly, failing half if you're going for it is bad for you.
Yeah, very
Especially
true.
when you're up against a team like Arches, where any mistake and those elves will get in there.
Yeah, it's so good at taking advantage of little mistakes like that, and it looks like that's what happened. Nurgle's FTDs and Ace Trucking Co. We both predicted the Nurgle, and we were both wrong. So at least he doesn't completely run away with this one. It's only a 6-point swing. Oh God. Chorf's grabbing the win. We kind of thought this could go either way.
Yeah, it was just a case of the which person's claw was firing, and in this game it was certainly Kix's claw that fired off.
That's kind of how we expected this match. Like, it was either going to be like, it depends on whose claw worked, and we just kind of banked on the numbers a little bit. Like, on average, the Nurgle have regen, so like on average,
the problem with the game was that it was mostly KOs.
Oh, so there you go.
Most of the injuries were actually
7 KOs.
onto Rotters, I think.
Yeah, 7 KOs.
And also, there was a big loss in this game. A big death onto a Nurgle warrior.
Oh no, I know that feel. I
believe, let me get the thing up. Yeah, it was Plague Lord Syphilis at 95 SPP.
Ouch.
Block guard, stand firm, mighty blow claw in the drain.
Well, that's no good. Yeah, we are down to 3 Nurgle warriors.
Yeah, and down to only 2 really good ones.
Once again, I know that feel. I'm down to 1 good one. Boy. Well, that's unfortunate. But that's kind of what we expected. Like, one team was going to beat the other, and they were going to beat the other because they out-removed the other team. It's really hard to predict which team is going to have the injury dice. And we just sort of banked, foul appearance and regen on average is probably going to tilt it a little bit in favor of the Nurgle, but, dice happen. And it was in favor of the Chorfs, so the Chorfs take that one down 2-1. No games have been played in this next round yet, so we can actually look at the leaderboard in a reasonable way. Hooray! So we have Khemri do it. Yes, we can at the top with 7-2-1, taking over from TravelScrabble, who was leading the div for so long.
Held all season.
Yeah, 7-0-3. Just down by 2 points, but
back-to-back losses for TravelScrabble.
Yeah, only down by 2 points, but he has lost the first spot. And then we take a bit of a jump down to ArchExcel, Archangel, and Zizeta,
he's only
5
one
wins.
Game, to be fair, like they're only 1 game behind him.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's still pretty close. In terms of a lot of people have good playoff chances. Certainly, all the way down to like Stouticus and Kix are all like have a shot at moving up to the at least Challengers Cup, because there are so many playoff spots in Div 1.
Yeah.
Let me bring up the thing.
Have a chance.
Let me bring up the little div predictor here. Cover up these results perfectly. So yeah, according to Drenner's nifty little div predictor, all the way down to the Grody Greens and Ace Trucking Co. are still technically in the running. They have a shot at making 4th or 5th or 6th respectively. Nurgle's FTDs, High Fivers, and Rebellious Scions are at the point where they should probably consider next season rather than aiming for anything this season. But the only person who's like guaranteed playoffs quote currently is McMacky. He's not completely guaranteed because, as we said before, there's a very small chance that he ends up 5th to put him in the Challengers Cup. So you can't call him mathematically locked yet, but it's basically there. Scooby and the gang also very, very close, but he has a slightly higher chance of
and more importantly, look at that big 66%
for first. Yeah, it's huge.
for first place for the buy.
Yeah, that's massive. Being able to grab the buy is such a big deal. But all the way down to so we've got Archangel's Will, not an anime sports team, Ars Gotia, all with basically 50% or higher for playoffs, and higher than that if you add in the Challengers Cup. Fear and Bloating and Pantheon Passers also with a bit of an outside shot at both playoffs or even Battle Brothers as well. A bit of an outside shot at playoffs/Challengers Cup. It'll be very difficult for Grungy Desserts, Ace Trucking Co. or the Grody Greens to make it, but they still have a shot, so it's not out yet, boys. Not out yet.
Yeah, it really just depends on what the teams in third and fourth are doing.
Yeah,
like
we'll have to see these next few
which
weeks.
matches they have left in the season, because...
Speaking of which, shall we predict next week?
Yeah, let's go into it.
Well, Fear and Bloating versus the High Fivers.
Okay, so it's the probably one of the stronger looking Nurgle teams this season.
Yeah.
Up against the super depleted, I lost my best player, that was all my team, Necro.
Yeah, that seems rather straightforward to me, honestly.
So I mean, Necro already in general tend to struggle, I think, against Nurgle.
Yeah, the one thing that they have going for them really is the sort of speed. They can outspeed Nurgle a little bit with those wolves, but that kind of resolve is going to require you to like mark up to try to tie up the Nurgle players, and then they're going to claw your whites and zombies and flesh golems to death, and you only even have one flesh golem, right? To try and tie them up with.
I think he just got enough money to buy a second, but I'm not sure.
And then it's going to be a little starchy as well, and you're kind of leaving your players to get punched. I feel like this is a Nurgle. It's a lower TV Nurgle team, so it's not the scariest Nurgle team in the div, because they're missing.
Oh
a
no,
Nurgle
he's not
warrior.
even there. Wow, he doesn't. He's 10k short of purchasing a new flesh golem.
The Nurgle are missing a Nurgle warrior and a Pestigore, which is non-ideal,
so
but
could be a good week for him to face him then.
yeah, this
But
is
also
probably
it just
his
means
best
that
case
he's
scenario.
not getting as many inducements, which he's been relying on in the past couple weeks.
That's true.
So I think he gets enough.
Let's well, the Nurgle have 50k to drop here, so if they do just straight up drop that, it's 120k, which I don't know is enough.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning towards Nurgle on this one personally.
I'm leaning towards Nurgle if they're not getting Cheney
Yeah.
as well.
Well, and then, are you going to predict yourself here?
I mean, I think it would be criminal to not pick myself.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, we saw that.
I don't like the match though. That's for sure.
Fair enough.
It's just going to be a case of, can my armor do what Arch's armor did?
Yeah. Well, there's two. At least most of the claws wasted against you, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 tackle for the Nurgle or the Chaos team. 2 of them are on Mighty Blow, like piling on Pestigores, which is pretty terrifying. One of them is on the Guard Chaos Warrior.
Quite a bit of inducements for the game, so I'm sitting at like 1670-ish in terms of past post loaners.
You get another 120.
Like 400 something inducements.
You'll be 1670. So you get what, 430? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty significant.
We'll be talking like seeing both a wizard and potentially Jordell to replace Jamie Leake, who's missing the game.
Well, it's really hard to count out.
So with
an
13
elf with a wizard,
players, because if I do get, or 12 players, if I do get a star, that should help a bit. And the wizard's certainly a thing.
It's always really hard to count out.
It's a tough matchup, yeah.
It's hard to count out elves with a wizard. It really is. But I feel like I need to try to, like, I'm just gonna metagame it a little bit, and I feel like I need to catch up on points. So I
catch up.
I have to pick a different team just to have a chance at that swing. So I'll go with Z8 in the Chaos. But
and I mean, he certainly has the players to be able to beat me.
Yeah.
What
and his armor dice
is.
or his injury dice can't be bad 2 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah, that's how dice work. Totally.
Yep. Absolutely. So then we have Nurgle's FTDs, so High Lord Salt, and the Grody Greens, who is Stouticus.
Lazarus.
Oh, sorry, that's the Grungy Desserts. Too many Nurgle teams. God.
Too many G's too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Grungy desserts. They're all the same.
Well, this makes it harder. Because I was
like
just gonna
the
pick
really hard
Stouticus.
one to pick because it's Nurgle against Nurgle. It's bottom of the table against
Yeah.
not quite bottom of the table, but close. Like they're
Well,
both down there.
yeah. So
They're not like the very bottom, but like they've not had great seasons.
no, like so it's a Nurgle match. Nurgle on Nurgle matchup. You'd like basically always predict the team that has higher TV, basically, because the better Nurgle team will probably win, and the better ones are the ones with higher TV, generally. But they're both almost identical, so it's really difficult to rely on that as a crutch. So I think the thing is here, Lazarus has more like guard type skills, and then along with Yaza,
Sauce has more claw.
yeah, and Sauce has more claw. So that's the thing. I think I want to go with the claw. It's really difficult because that like the guard is going to make, well, there's similar numbers of guard. The guard is going to make it a bit more difficult for Sauce's team to deal with. He's also going to be down a Nurgle warrior comparatively. But Yazev Mucus is a player. But
He is a player.
There are literally no rotters for Lazarus.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he's getting 3 and Sauce is getting 1, so that's another 80k onto Lazarus. So Sauce is getting 20k in inducements, which is nothing, so they're basically identical. Neither player has a bench, and they're both going to have exactly 3 rotters as armor. Like I think the when both teams have no bench and have only 3 expendable players on either side, the team with more removal will probably take it, honestly. So I think I want to go with Salt.
I think I'm going to go with the Gertie Greens here. Just A, to be different, and B, to just say that, man, Sauce, like, man up. Stop carrying the ball on your crappy players.
He's scared of wizards, man. Scared of wizards. There's going to be no wizard, though, so you're safe.
He's still going to carry the ball on a crappy
probably.
Pestigore to get an SPP rather than getting more onto his 250k carrier.
But here's another game.
250 SPP carrier.
So we've got McMacky, Can We Do It? Yes, We Can, and the Ace Trucking Co. from Kix96.
So this is definitely one of those things where McMackie's like, well, I'm winning the thing, and I'm probably in the playoffs. Can my players please not die?
Yeah, well, I mean, if he wins this, he's like basically guaranteed to go to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure there's no way he can't if he wins this.
I think if he gets a tie, he's guaranteed. Like all he needs is really one more point.
And he's doing really well. Like he's shown that he knows how to play that team. Certainly, the biggest problem is that he's going up against a team that actually has a reasonable time against Khemri. Like, you know, Khemri has a pretty big strength in the fact that they've got 4 strength 5 players. However, the Chorfs, right? So they've got 6 players with block that they're not afraid to uphill with.
Yeah.
Most of them have guard, so they're going to be able to get those assists in there
and
to
some
make
of
it
them
less
have
likely.
Dauntless.
Yeah, there's even one with Dauntless. The Claw, there's 3 Claw Mighty Blow players. We are out May's second son of Ace, though, who is clearly the hero of this team. So
clearly the talisman.
I know without him, I don't know if they can win. And I think we only have the 1 Bull Centaur, and we're going to be down a Chaos Dwarf as well.
He's got
you can buy
just 1 Bull Centaur.
You can buy a Bull Centaur.
Yeah, he definitely has enough bank to buy a new one.
Yep. He's got 11 players, so he's not gaining any money in inducements there. So he's adding to it. So we've got about 100k.
And it'll be about the same. Yeah, it'll be about the same if he buys.
If he buys the bull, they'll be dead even.
Yeah,
I think buying the bull is probably a good idea, even though he's a rookie. Just having the extra strength and speed might make a bit of a difference. being down the Chaos Dwarf blocker is the biggest problem, I think. It's just another guard missing, another block missing that you can tie up the Khemri with. I really don't know what to say. Like, it's hard to...
I mean, I think it'd be hard to not pick McMacky because he's been on a tear all season.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that it's hard to predict against McMacky. But if any team is going to do it, I feel like it's the Chorfs, just because they have all the right tools to deal with the strengths of the Khemri, right? So they're not afraid to throw uphill blocks against those Tomb Guardians because they have block everywhere. Some of them have Dauntless. Those uphill blocks are going to be Claw Mighty Blow. If you can remove a Tomb Guardian, you're in really good shape, and there's a lot of it, right? It's hard. Like, I don't know, my heart says McMacky, my brain says Kicks. Let's go with... I believe in McMacky. Let's go for it. I pick Khemri.
Yeah, I'm also gonna put Shadorra's on McMacky. I think he's been predicting McMacky pretty, he's down every week as well. So
it's one of his playoff coaches, or playoff predictions. Not an anime sports team and Rebellious Scions. So we got an elf on elf match here. I bet they're very pleased to play that, considering the amount of Nurgle that exists in this division. So
certainly a nice break usually.
Yeah, ArchXL's High Elves, and we've got a Velociraptor's Dark Elves.
It's worth noting that ArchXL played against probably the killiest team in the division and does not have a single player missing because of it.
It's very true.
Very happy to go into this one at full power.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, you look at sort of Dark Elf versus High Elf, and you think, what are the advantages there? And you say, well, the High Elves, if they have a lot of development, they're going to have some really good players. They're going to have some good passing and speed.
Velociraptor was telling me he picked up a bunch of stats this week.
And you think that the High Elves or the Dark Elves are, we've got a bunch of blodge. That's kind of their game plan. However, the High Elves have a shitload of blodge, and the Dark Elves have a movement 8, 2 strength 4s, a movement 7, and an agi 5.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot better than it was earlier in the season for Velociraptor. He picked up plus strength onto Louise REL and an agility onto that lineman recently.
Well, there's a couple of things here, I guess. On the one hand, you say, well, based on records, ArchXL has been doing better this season than Velociraptor, so you'd think, a little bit pushes you in favor of ArchXL there. Certainly, but man, like... Dark Elves are the bashy elf team, and they're going to be able to do some bashing with double strength 4 on blodge stepping pieces. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. They are armor 7, which is or one of them is armor 7, which is a bit of a weakness, especially considering there is a strength 4 on ArchXL as well. Oh man, I'm bad at elf matchups, and I especially have no idea what to pick here. This is... I feel like it's going to be pretty tight.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna go stake Shadorra's lot onto the Dark Elves because I want Arch to lose this game and give us chasers a chance of making it up into the playoffs.
See, I was gonna do that too. I was gonna pick Dark Elves, but it's close. It's close enough in my mind that I think I can make a divisive pick here, and get a chance at trying to grab some more points. We'll like meta it a little bit. Plus, there's that aspect of ArchXL has proven that he knows what he's doing. He's up at the top of the table right now. Hard to bet against top of the table teams, so it's not totally meta picking, but there's a little bit of that in there. Battle Brothers and Scooby and the gang. This is one that this matters quite a bit. TravelScrabble would love to stay at the top. A win here keeps him nice and even, or even ahead of McMacky. But Choleric needs to win this if he wants a shot at playoffs. So there's quite a bit on the line for both teams here.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an interesting matchup. It's like they're both hybrid teams. They both have ridiculous stat ups.
Yeah, it's interesting. They both hybrid teams that can play very speedy and agilely, like with the agi, because they have the stat ups to do so. It's going to be really interesting. Choleric down some players, I think.
differential here, though.
Well, he's down one of his really good. He's down one of his Agi blitzers, which is 230k, right? So that's basically the difference right there.
Yeah, and it is his ball carrying blitzer.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So not gaining anything extra. This is really difficult, and I think it's going to be interesting. But I think I'm probably going to go with TravelScrabble just because of the that blitzer being out. If that blitzer was there, I think this would be much more even. But losing one of your really good players, going up against a match that going up against a team that's going to be able to do the same thing as you, because they have the speedy like Agi 4 pieces, and you're just missing one of those, is going to make it quite a bit harder.
I'm gonna keep this divisive and put the bet into the Battle Brothers.
Excellent.
Who might be able to take advantage of their inducements that they'll be getting.
Maybe I will be able to catch up a few points next week. And then we have Archangel's Will and Grungy Desserts. So this is a big one too.
So it is the best of the Nurgle teams.
Yep.
I think we've said all season.
I would agree. I mean, it's very high TV. It's got all the tools.
The team that has the least missing pieces to it.
Absolutely. Although Archangel has shown in the past that he knows how to play against bash teams.
Yes.
With his WoodElves. He's missing one of the good catchers though. Irveth is out for this next game.
Yeah, and that was I believe an armor bust.
Well, let's see.
Against me.
How has he done against the other Nurgle in this division? He tied against Z-Zeta, which is not Nurgle, but yeah, you know what I mean. He beat the Grody Greens. He beat the Nurgle's FTDs. So that's the thing, right? He's got a very good record against Nurgle, but this is probably the best Nurgle team that he's faced, to be fair.
And it's a Nurgle team that has a lot of tackle, has 2 tentacles.
Yeah.
No, 1 tentacle, 1 tail. An interesting choice with tail.
Two heads wrestle tackle strip. Sponge Cake Man is pretty
and
terrifying.
Yellow Lead Brownie is a player that can actually hold the ball against the WoodElves and not be easily stripped.
I don't think there is a strip ball in the WoodElves right now.
No, just the Strength 4 War Dancer, which doesn't even have tackle yet.
Yeah, but he's gonna be able to get a two die relatively easy with that. But because there's 4 guard on the Nurgle team.
Yeah, 4 guard.
So if he does the very slow offense where you put a guard on both corners and just move forward 3 squares every turn, while trying to hunt down elves with all apple pies, it's going to be very hard for Archangel to stop Nurgle from scoring, but the Nurgle are probably going to have a hard time stopping Archangel from scoring too, and Archangel's going to be able to score faster.
Yeah, and Archangel will be getting a wizard plus extra stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Man, this is difficult.
We're talking about 1800, I think, for Archangel in this game.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
2160, so
another 14.
360.
So he's going to be
so
at
we're talking at least
1800?
Eldril and a wizard.
Yeah, 360.
Eldril and a wizard.
God. So, man, there's so many things to this.
These games are always so tight. You think they wouldn't be, but they're they come down to very, very minor things happening in the game.
Yeah, on the one hand, Archangel is good against Nurgle. He's played a lot of them.
Lost a game.
On the other hand, this is probably the scariest Nurgle team, or the best against WoodElves Nurgle team that he's had to play. But wizard, but a wizard is a thing.
Wizards,
and wizards are on WoodElf teams make such a big difference, especially against Nurgle, because there is really only that one Yellow Lead Brownie ball carrier. But we're also out one of the good catchers, but we're in Eldril. So there's so many factors here. It's one way, the other way, one way, the other way, one way, the other way. I might as well just flip a goddamn coin. Is almost how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Man, I think the one thing that puts it, the one thing that I think I'm gonna have push into my favor is just the season performance right now.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's going to bias me one way right now is that Archangel's in 4th and Stouticus is in 9th. Stouticus has been backing me literally. He recaps my division. He's picked me literally every game this season. So it feels bad not to pick him, but I think I want to go with the WoodElves on this one. Wizard and Elves is just good.
For selfish reasons, I'm gonna pick the Nurgle.
Excellent. Lots of divisive picks.
Because Archangel beat me last week, and I hope he gets his due. Fair
enough. Let's go look at Div 2A. There'll be less to talk about here because they've played 4 of their games. They finished another one in the time that we were talking about Div 1. Fucking excellent. Okay. So, and then we had nothing to predict, and we didn't have any predictions from last week. So Dwarves versus Orcs, Cogs of War 4 and the Greenskin Brawlers, we predicted that the Orcs would take this because the Dwarves have had a rough game. They were missing a rough season. They're missing a lot of players. Professor Chaos is very good at Orcs at the standard Orc game, and we assumed the standard Orc game would beat the Death Roller Dwarf game, but they tied, so no points either way there.
The standard Orc game got 64 blocks and 1 removal.
That'll do it. That explains 100% of the game right there. 64 blocks, 14 armor breaks, 1 injury inflicted. That'll do it. Whereas the dwarves inflicted 3 KOs and 2 injuries. I mean that's it right there.
I mean the dwarves did sustain 3 KAs, so I'm assuming 2 were from failed GFIs or dodges or something. But even with only 3 players getting removed, it's not enough. Dwarves can tend to keep their shape if you don't get rid of them.
Yeah, Belloc the Longbeard gets MVP and levels, gains 7 SPP that match, but he's a loner, which sucks so badly.
Did he have enough money to buy him?
I don't think so.
It's always one of those things.
I don't think he did. And it's a 7 SPP Dwarf Longbeard who then just immediately gets fired, which sucks so badly.
I mean, he's been rolling in spiraling expenses, so I doubt he would have the money.
That's true. Yeah, I think it really all boils down to there was a really good fireball, hit 4 players and knocked down 3. But I think fireball, very poor removals for the orcs, caused that to be a 1-1 rather than a 2-1 for the orcs, unfortunately. Let's see, is this one that we predicted? I don't remember. No, haven't. Lizards versus Norse? No. So we didn't predict this one because it had already been played, but we can look at the results. Belwiths, Quadadal, and Thick, Rich, and Creamy. So the ridiculous high elves that are the most glass cannony high elves I've ever seen in my life have insane levels, and every single one of them is injured. Versus the Necro, Thick, Rich, and Creamy.
Yeah, the Necro that have been doing quite well this season too.
It's true. A death, along with 2 casualties and 6 KOs sustained, but for the high elves, but the Necro sustaining 2 casualties, a death, and 2 KOs of their own. So elves keeping up with the player count means that elves probably win in a lot of situations, honestly.
And the death was actually a lot more important on the Necro side versus the High Elf side. On the High Elves, they lost a dodge lineman, whereas the Necro lost a 163 SPP white.
Ouch. Yep, that'll do it. The Necro also failing all of their KO rolls, while the elves got half of theirs back. So that kind of explains that to me there. An elf team with that many tools, that many really good players, keeping up with the player count is just going to be able to score more than you, and there's not much you can do.
To add insult to injury, the Necro also pick up a unwanted MVP and level onto a dirty player zombie.
Yep, an armor busted dirty player zombie for that matter. Then, in what seems to be a theme in Div 2A, the next match we actually got a prediction for was a tie, so it also doesn't matter. For reference, we both predicted. Oh no, this isn't one that we predicted. There was the other lizard game we predicted. God damn. But that was a tie too. Wonderful. We'll get there in a second. Fogmire Fen Beasts and The Secret of My Success 1-1. I don't understand how that numbers work here though, because it's 1-1 and the Fogmire Fen Beasts have 0% ball possession with 0% occupation of their own half. How did they score? Like, this is
did they one turn maybe?
They had to have one turned, or they had a like player in the end zone and the ball bounced into their hands or something. Like, it must have been a
like
one turn.
0% means that you had to pick it up and then get it into the end zone on the same time.
Yeah, like this had to have been. It was either a one turn or some sort of weird like bounced into the lizard's hands on not their turn.
Touchdown on. Touchdown was on a random skink.
It's so hard to say.
Yeah.
There were 2 successful catches, and 1 successful pickup. So since the pickup happened, I imagine that it was a one turn, because if there was a, or no, because they could have scored on the same turn they picked it up. It could have been like a one turn in that, like, it only took one turn to score, but it's because the ball was on the floor in the opponent's half and they picked it up and scored. I have no idea what happened there, but 5 failed pickups of 6, 1-1, never having the ball on their own side.
Never having the ball, period. Yeah, it's crazy.
I have no idea what happened here. Like, not a goddamn clue. I feel like it was, how many like blocks were there?
A lot. 55 for the lizards and 48 for the orcs.
I feel like this was a like there was a big old scrum around the ball. Yeah. The lizards couldn't quite like actually get a hold of it, and eventually that one turn they scooped it up and scored just to grab the touchdown. Rather than it being like a one turn or anything like that. I think there's just, the orcs scored and there was a big old fight over the ball. Lizards getting in there, causing a big scrum, a lot of blocks happening, eventually scooping it up and scoring on that one turn to like sneak in the tie kind of thing. Or even if it was that score first and then the orcs managed to make it a tie. But like either way, I think it was a very difficult touchdown for the Fogmire Fen Beasts. Especially sustaining 4 KOs and 2 casualties, whereas the orcs only sustained 1 on that amount of blocks. So I think the conclusion here is well done, Fogmire Fen Beasts, for making that a tie. The lizard game that we did predict, we predicted is a tie as well, of course. We predicted the Norse would take this, and because the Cantankerous Creations were in rough shape, they were missing a lot of their players. Like, most of their Saurus were gone. We knew they were going to get Slibbly, but we weren't sure if it was going to be enough. And the Norse, it looks like it was. Slibbly even gaining MVP. Although the Berserk, the movement busted, armor busted Berserker grabs MVP to level, which is kind of funny.
Lots of removals against the Lizards, that's for sure.
9 KOs and 7 casualties. I mean, that's kind of how we expected it to go. Was that the
Norse
when
would
you
have so many skinks on the field and your opponent has a bunch of tackle Mighty Blow.
Yeah, that's what we figured, is that the Norse were just going to, like, wipe the floor with the lizards, and then the lizards weren't going to be able to do much.
Funny that they kept it to a draw, though. Is certainly impressive.
A lot of the casualties could have come in the second half kind of thing, like after the lizards have already scored.
Yeah.
Like, too late to make it so that you can win, but early enough that you can grab the tie. But yeah, 84 blocks sustained is, like, the highest number I've ever seen in a game that didn't go to overtime. That's insane.
I mean, that's like cheese numbers, right?
Yeah, and the lizards like barely had the ball on top of that. So another game where the lizards seemed like they're on the back foot all game, but managed to squeak out a tie. So well done there. Sorry for doubting you, I guess, Basunda. Let's see.
Next game is the game we watched today.
Two loner fails, and 1 success. So there were 3 loner reroll attempts, which is kind of funny. Oof. But with that many loners between Slibbly and like all the skinks, it's
4 skinks. Yeah,
not that surprising. And then we watched Fallen Wonders versus the Rowdy Rebel Rousers. Didn't predict that one, of course, because it had already been played. The game that we. Then Rouge's Gallery and Reality Kings, of course we didn't predict that because it's Superfed. He plays before our div reviews every week just to spite me, I think. Ended up in a 1-1 tie.
More continuation of Superfed's woes this season.
Yeah, he's had a rough go at it. Something like 30-something injuries over his last 4 or 5 games that he's taken. There's been a lot of injuries. The good news is he's kept the team together for the most part. Like, sure, there's a couple injuries here and there, but most of those injuries are the game-losing kind, not the season-ending kind, thankfully.
It is worth noting that he did pick up the bear just for this game, and immediately got it movement busted.
We did notice that he picked up the bear, and we assumed it was for like just to try to protect some of his better players against the Chorfs. I think we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
But what did we have for injuries? Another 5 casualties to add to that like 30 injury chalkboard. Hopefully they were still of the badly hurt MNG kind rather than the,
a movement bust on the bear, death on a dirty player lineman that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's fine. Like if you told me that I was going to suffer 35 injuries or whatever the number is over 5 games, but my team was going to look like Superfeds after that, sure, I'd be annoyed at those dice, but I'd would much rather that than the alternative.
What happened to Arch a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's still got a team, right? And he's got all the good players still. And like some of them are now movement busted or niggled or armor busted or something, but it's nothing that's like season ending. Like nothing that's probably worth like he still has a good Kislev team. It's nothing season ending. It just means that he's losing or tying a lot of the games that he's playing right now, which is unfortunate because he was in quite a commanding position. But we're going to have dropped down the leaderboard a little bit with the last few weeks of performance. Yeah, not taking 46 blocks, going out a bunch of players. Still keeping it to 1-1, which I think is pretty good considering the number of removals he had. But that very well may have been a very early score for Superfed, and then the Chorfs just beating him to death
just for holding the ball and
13 turns.
Death,
yeah. Superfed often scores very early and very quickly, so my guess is like 2 or 3 turn on his drive, and then 13 turns of Chorf pain. And then Murderer's Row versus Rats Against Teen Stars. We did predict this one, and it wasn't a tie, so we actually get points or lose points. But we both predicted the Necro, so it is kind of a net. It's a wash. We both win.
It's a wash.
So I like how for Div 1, Shadorra gained 4 points and I lost 2, and then for Div 2. We both gained 1 point because everything was a goddamn tie.
Everything was a draw.
Yeah, so the Murderers will take this one down 2-1. 22 armor breaks, resulting in 7 KOs, 5 casualties, and 2 deaths. Explains that 2-1 to me, or at least like 90% of that 2-1 to me.
And if you look at the possession number, you'll be even more.
Yeah, exactly. That 12% ball possession is like the 2 turns the Rats had to touchdown with. Let me point to this is how you know that a bash team has had a good game against an edgy team. You look at their dice roll screen, and if every one of their d6s is a single digit number, it's all right. You've done well. Not having to roll dice that aren't block dice or injury dice is basically how you win these games, right? We made 3 pickup attempts, 1 lightning bolt, 13 armor rolls, 1 dodge, 5 injuries, 3 GFIs, 1 wake up. Like things that aren't like guaranteed to happen because of how the game went, right? Like injury, armor, that kind of thing. 1 dodge, 3 GFIs, 3 pickups. So you rolled dice 7 times over the course of 16 turns.
Worth noting that there were a lot of pushes on the Necro side, but most of them
that's a lot of pushes.
The werewolves, you got to do extra hits after that.
That is a lot of pushes. That's triple the number of pushes than any other dice, which is you'd expect, double.
Yeah,
certainly. But that's unfortunate. Little unlucky there, but it's kind of difficult to complain about.
It didn't matter in the end though, because when he did get the POWs, they removed Rats. So
and Rats Against Teen Stars got 3 POWs. So
3.
it's not great. But I mean, this screen describes the game to me right here. If a bash team doesn't have to roll very many dice, they've won. Right? That's kind of how it is. This is the sign of a good bash game. I mean, it's hard to call Necro like a bash team, but against Rats they kind of are. They're bash comparatively. And that's that. So after those results, we've got this for the leaderboard. Keep in mind, this leaderboard makes no sense because 4 of the games for next week have already been played. So, and I'm way too lazy to work out 5 games in terms of the standings. So we'll go with this and look at it as is. Okay. Well, Necro versus Rats, like, they can't play the hybrid speed sort of game because the Rats are going to beat them at the speed game. So they just have to murder things with the werewolves. Yeah, they rely a bit. They use that hybrid nature and roll over a little bit more into the bash side of the game rather than anything else out of the game because they're going to be better at it than the Rats are. So he certainly did. But we've got, let's see. So we've got Atomex at the top, but he's also, I think, played this week already, right? Yes, he has, and a win. So then. Rolling Red, Jimmy Burrito, both 1 behind. Fall 1 behind. Professor Chaos, 1 behind. Superfed 1 behind, despite his last few weeks. Not for
It's worth noting that Jimmy Burrito does still have a game left to play.
True. Yes. So he's very, very close to the other teams.
And Fallen Wanderers also has to play a game this week.
Both very close to the other teams, and yet they still have a game to go. So there's a lot that could shift around pretty easily here. But like, a div is close when the wins actually go up as you go down, like 6-5, 6-5, 4-5. Like there's a lot of ties. As you can see, like all the way down to 10th place, they're within 2 to 3 wins of each other. Like this div is so close.
So let's pull up the predictor and see how it's looking out for playoff spots.
I would like to, but it has decided to crash on me, so you'll have to give me a moment. You'll have to give me one moment here while I force quit it.
Just looking at this thing, it looks like the Nurgle are probably pretty safe. I mean,
yeah, but then again, very close.
They're only 4 points ahead of 5th place, which is crazy.
This div is insane. I mean, we talked about it.
5th place is not a playoff spot, not even a postseason spot.
We talked about it.
Down to 4th place.
We talked about it last week, but this is very much a div of have and have-nots, as it were, right? The top 8 teams or so are all really close, and then it just immediately drops off, and then the bottom 4 are straight up just bottom, and they're not going anywhere else. I'll bring up the div predictor now that it actually has run, and you can see what I mean here, right? The Atomex has got is not quite guaranteed, because there's a very small chance that he could end up 5th.
But he certainly has a good lead on everyone else. So
it would
absolutely require lots of things to happen for him to miss.
All but mathematically guaranteed, as it were. He's pretty much going to go to postseason in some way, shape, or form. Very likely to the playoffs. Highest chance of coming first for sure. But then after him, it drops off, and they're all dead even,
equal. Yeah.
Quagmire Fenbeast, Thick, Rich, and Creamy, Greenskin Brawlers, sorry, Fallen Wonders, and Reality Kings, all with 50-ish or more, 50 to 60. Reality Kings is the lowest there, to go to playoffs or Challengers Cup at least. Right, there are. So the 2nd through 6th here is very, very tight, and then it suddenly drops off. Murderer's Row and Felwith Codadal still technically
outside chances,
but outside chances, and then the rest just kind of are gone. Right? It's very, very tight at the top, and then it's very, very tight at the bottom, but in the bad way, as it were. So there's the top half and the bottom half, and there's no middle really. The closest you can call to a middle is Murderer's Row and Felwiths, but they're probably closer to the bottom than
which is funny.
Middle.
I mean, if you know the history of the REL, those 2 teams have been the middle of pretty much every Div 2/3 for the last 5 seasons.
Man, yeah,
perpetually stuck in those spots.
This div is so close, and I'm really interested to see where it ends up over the next few weeks. Just as a reminder, the teams because we did predict some playoff positions a couple weeks ago as bonus points, and Shadorra predicted Superfed, Jimmy Burrito, Atomex, and Professor Chaos. So that is Reality Kings, Greenskin Brawlers, Thick, Rich, and Creamy, Rowdy Rebel Rousers, and what was the other one I said? I think that's all of them, because there's 4. Yeah. And then I predicted Atomex, Jimmy Burrito, Fall, and Superfed. So
okay, so both of you missing out on the Fogmire Fen Beasts, who are currently in second.
Yes. Basically, we're pretty much the same on Atomics and Thick, Rich, and Creamy, who are pretty likely to be there. I've picked, and we both sort of missed out on Reality Kings. They still have a shot, but it's more outside at this point.
Certainly not being helped by his Kaz dice recently.
No. And then he's predicted the Greenskin Brawlers, and I've predicted Fall. So mine is slightly higher at this point to be in.
I mean,
but they're still both very close.
They still have to play this week.
So it's a tight division for our predictions as well, which is kind of fun. So speaking of predictions, shall we do the last chunk of this? There's not much to do.
More games.
Not much to do. Oh, god damn it. Guess what Blood Bowl's doing?
Crashing?
No, it's doing that thing that happens sometimes where if I tab away from it and then tab into it, it doesn't let me click buttons.
Oh, I've had that happen so many times on my streams.
Yeah, you have to force quit it and then reload it so you can actually click stuff. So allow me to I'll restart that real fast.
Yeah, that happens so often to me. Thankfully, it never happens in the game I'm playing because I alt tab a lot.
I've never had it happen in a game I play, but I suppose I don't alt tab during games very frequently.
Well, I usually alt tab because I have it windowed and have the
see.
stream stuff up at the same time.
I just use multiple monitors.
Yeah.
Okay. Back in here. So we've got Oathblow and Murderer's Row.
All right, so the really good Norse team that have had not the greatest season, but starting to look quite a lot better than they.
Yeah, they had a bit of a recovery period. They were in rough shape for a bit, and they lost a couple games because of it. But they've recovered and gotten their players back. They've got a lot of pending level up, so that's going to be kind of hard to predict. Murderer's Row also have several pending level ups as well, so it's not going to be particularly easy. The weirdest thing for me is that this is the most tackle heavy Norse team I've ever seen in my life. They have 7 tackle, which is, a thing, but it's not that much of an asset when there's only 3 dodge on the Necro team.
It could be good to take out the wolf though, because that wolf is quite a big portion of his team.
That is true. The wolf is a big deal, and that white is a big deal, and that's kind of most of the team. There's a couple good players lying around. The 2 guard zombies are pretty nice, especially the blodge guard zombie, which is very funny. Yeah, it is handy, and there's a couple mighty blow, and the 2 agi 4. There's that berserker who got plus agi minus agi is really unfortunate. By the way. I don't know. This is another one of those ones. I looked at the Norse. It comes
down to, I think, can the Yeti do something against the golems? If he can get rid of the golems, maybe he has a good chance.
That's true. I looked at the Norse team and I was like, Norse. And then I looked at the Undead team, or the Necro team, and I was like, Necro. So I don't really know what to pick here, honestly. And it's hard when they haven't picked their level ups. But what does the removal situation look like for the Necro? There's the 1 killer werewolf.
Killer werewolf and a palming white.
Oh, there's 2.
Yeah.
Man, like I said, every time I switch back and forth, I change my mind. For various reasons.
Well, I think I could go out on a limb and say that the Necro are probably the more likely team to win here.
I think that's what I was going to say too. Yeah. So I'll agree with you.
I think it is the more likely team to win.
I think it's really close, but I think I have a slight edge in my mind for the Necro. And this is a big one. Yeah. Thick, Rich, and Creamy and Fallen Wonders. So this is one that's going to matter quite a bit for the top of the table. We've got Jimmy Burrito and Fall, who are both 1 win away from being
Catching up.
who are they're 4 points behind first place. So whoever wins this is 1 point behind first place. So this is quite a game, and this is quite an important one as well.
We do have the 2 Mighty Blow tackle werewolves who are going to be able to take down Amazons. But again, like, this is just going to be one of those games where, like, if Fall really plays the inducement game properly, he might be able to pull this off.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every time I see these like teams with really good removals versus Fall, I'm like, oh, he's gonna lose some players and then he's gonna have a hard time winning. But he keeps winning despite not having any players.
So it's gonna be a 250 difference. So Wizard plus 2 babes.
Or another Apo.
Not gonna have as big a bench or anything. So he could run into problems if he gets his players removed.
It's very true. Both the big thing for me, I think, is that both wolves have tackle.
Yeah.
They're both tackle Mighty Blow wolves. So not only do they have block tackle, they also have 2 shots at hitting those or knocking over those blodge Amazons. So like 4 dice is a pretty good shot at knocking over a blodge player when you have tackle, and the Mighty Blow is a thing that's going to add on to that. So like initially first reaction is Necro, but then the number of times this season we've seen Fall lose half his team and then win anyway puts me like kind of squarely in the Fall camp. And you know what? I've predicted but that's the other thing is I've predicted both of these teams to go to playoffs. So it's so hard to predict one versus the other. Because they're all like 3rd through 5th, they're all dead tied. They're all 19 points.
Yep.
So I like if Fall was like lower in the table, I'd predict him because I want a chance at making sure he makes it. But they're all like first through 5th, they're all separated by like 1 point. It's so hard to pick here. Oh man. Okay, well here's the deal. I picked Fall and Shadorra didn't. So I want Fall to go up, and if Jimmy goes out, then we both lose because we both predicted Jimmy. So in the nature of point gaining, I'm going to go with Fall.
Okay, I'll give you the divisive because this is
Excellent.
really a close game.
It's so
and
close.
There's tackle Mighty Blows. I think like the thing that puts me towards the Necro here is just the bench size.
Oh, honestly, I like my if it wasn't for the meta game of this,
Yeah,
I think I would pick Necro. But the meta is
you need
got
to
me.
catch up. Let's do this.
Yeah, and this will be interesting as well. So you've got the Cantankerous Creations and Cogs of War 4. So the Dwarves, who, despite their 2,000 TV, have not actually done very well this season, versus the 1260 Lizards, who don't have much of a team left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 7 players. They're missing a Saurus for this game. And they only have 5. 1, 2, 3, 6. There are 5 no Crocs to go up, so they have 5 Saurus and then a bunch of loner skinks. But they're also going to have so many inducements.
So many inducements. Slibley, Wizard. 1,
2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they're getting 4 loner skinks. And the skink is what, 60? So that's 240. So they're at 1,500. So they get 500k inducements. That's a big number. So Slibley actually makes a really big difference here. And the other thing is that's worth noting. Oh, it's worth noting that we are in the Dwarf Stadium, and the Dwarves have a bribe stadium for their Death Roller.
Bribe stadium to keep the Death Roller around.
And they have a bench, so the Death Roller is probably going to stay on for a large portion of the game. And they have so much guard. And the Lizards are... Well, the Lizards have 3 guard of their own, honestly.
But the Lizards are also armor busted. 2 of their guard Sauruses are only armor 8.
That's true.
Which could be a problem in the game.
Fuck it. Death Roller Dwarves. I like Dwarves. I like Death Rollers.
Mickey Smith. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, so I'm going to pick the team that picked up Mickey Smith.
fair enough.
Also, I mean, how do you bet against a movement 9 Agi4 Blodge Step Sprint Skink?
Oh, he's so good. And honestly, like I think the Lizards have a really good shot at this.
Yeah, it's certainly a close game. That's what I love about these top divisions. Is like you really have a hard time picking every match because
they have they've got that skink. As long as that skink's on the field, they have a chance at winning. I mean, Agi 4, movement 9. They've got the block plus strength skink, which is really funny. And they're going to get 500k in inducements, which is, Slibly. It's a Mercsaurus if you want one, so you can go up to 7 Saurus. Wizards,
a Croxagore,
or even a Merc Croxagore makes a big difference. But I mean, I really want this. The Dwarves have done pretty poorly this season, to be fair.
You want them to get their first win?
I want them to grab the win, and I want the Death Roller to do things. So let's go for it. Honestly, if the Dwarves play this very carefully, I think if they can take out that like one good skink, then the game is over.
Or just even like taking out one of the 2 guard Sauruses could be big.
Yeah, and then any removal from the Dwarves on the Lizards is going to be huge. And you know what's good at removing stuff? Death Rollers, piling on Death Rollers, block piling on Death Rollers.
You know what block Death Rollers are good at?
Piling on, but also rolling triple skulls. Yes, I understand that very well. Let's bring up the title screen because that's going to be us for this week. Hopefully next week, Shadorra will remember what day it is. But thanks to Tself for being on. It's great to have you here. A lot of insight into Div 1 and your own teams. And it's only fair that you replaced Shadorra because you replaced me 1 week, right?
Yeah, although I mean T-Steak was so much better. Yeah,
T-Dora or T-Dora is a little bit weirder, I think. But anyway, thanks for hanging out, everybody. We'll be back for week 12 next week, which is, second last. I'm really excited, especially to see where 2A goes. So much is going to happen this week and next week in terms of the standings. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing some of you in the playoffs. I might be making it myself. We will be back next Thursday if everything goes well. And I have no real games scheduled yet. Although I'm pretty sure there'll be one on Saturday for me at around noon EST. I'll be playing my REL game. But that's the only thing I've got scheduled so far. But once Imperium starts, you can certainly expect to see a lot of streams from me from Imperium because I'm looking forward to that.
Woo!
Yeah.
Imperium is awesome.
It's so good. Really want to do more of it. I'm so sad I missed out on the Clan Cup in the last 2 weeks of the beta. I want to get in.
Yeah, the Clan Cup was so much fun.
Yeah, I'm hankering.
We ended up taking the Clan Cup, Clan C.
Too many things to play right now. I don't have enough free time in too many games. But
the only disappointing part is that I have to give up my beautiful legendaries.
Yeah, Yaza. I'll miss Yaza. And Beast of Nurgle is such a good time.
I've missed Chubstep so much.
I don't think anybody's ever said that before. All right. Well, once again, thanks Tself for being on, and thanks all of you for hanging out and watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We will be back, or I will be back, and Shadorra will be back hopefully next week, next Thursday. So until then, I've been Steakmittens, and I've been
Tself.
Perfect. And I'll see you guys next time.